Stadium, the Centennial Bank High School State Championships today. It is a doubleheader as Greenwood takes on Benton, starting us off in the 6A championship game, and then a little bit later on tonight it will be the 7A title game between the Bryant Hornets and the North Little Rock Charging Wildcats. So we're a little over 12 minutes away from kickoff as we welcome you to the tail end of our pregame show. Bobby Swafford rejoins me now. And when you talk about the excitement, and you talked about coming down from Northwest Arkansas, there's a good Greenwood crowd on hand here today.
When you make the drive from Northwest Arkansas down Interstate 40 here to War Memorial Stadium, all you saw was blue flags with that white G just passing you, whether you're passing them. I'm not saying they were speeding, but they were definitely in a hurry to get down here, but they probably have that route typed into their GPS because they make this trip almost every year.
And they have worked themselves into a frenzy already. There's some pregame activities going on that's helping that. Let's go down and check in with the third member of our broadcast team. Eric Sullivan will be on the sidelines today. What's all the ruckus down there about, Eric?
How about the Benton student just made the 30-yard field goal? Is that a good sign? The Greenwood one? The Greenwood one. I'm sorry, Scott. Made the field goal, so maybe that's a good sign for the Bulldogs. And, guys, the wind is a factor. As you guys can see down here, the flag's blowing pretty hard, 18 to 20 miles an hour out of the southwest. But watching Greenwood's field goal kicker, Grant Ennis, early in pregame here, really didn't have a factor. He was pretty short, though, about 30, 25-yard field goals, but he seemed to handle it well. But I think, guys, and Bobby, you've watched Greenwood play a lot. Peyton Holt, can he handle the deep balls and all the explosive plays Greenwood likes with this wind so swirly right now? And then, of course, for Benton, you know what they're going to do. It's ground and pound with Zach Wallace at running back right there. So a tale of two different styles. We all know that. And speaking to Coach Jones, just kind of right before the game, he said one thing that he's going to emphasize the most to start this ball game, guys. That is convert third downs. Get first downs. Keep the ball moving. You know Benton would love to do that as well, to keep Peyton holding this offense off the field. So wind will be a factor, guys. There's no doubt about it.
There's one thing that Eric mentioned right there. He's talking about the kickers for Greenwood. Grant Ennis, the all-time leading scorer for kickers in Arkansas high school history. Been there for 3 years. The wind, as Eric mentioned, though, is going to be a huge factor. The short passing game is going to be big for Greenwood. They like to go down the field, but they also like to dink and dunk. Their running backs have more than 50 catches this season. Look for the short passing game for Greenwood to be a big factor, especially early on. And the directions of the stadium, if you're going north, if you're going south, could be a huge deal in this game.
Well, let's talk, too, about that wind. It is strong. It is coming out of the south, though, which has really brought with it some warmer temperatures. It was warmer yesterday as well. It has been more winter-like. But this, we mentioned in the open, it's like a September game. I mean, the temperatures are going to be in the 70s. That conditioning has got to be a big part of today's game as well.
Yeah, you never think about fatigue and endurance and cramping being a factor in a state championship game, but you mentioned the temperatures today. It very well could be a factor. Greenwood likes to go up-tempo. They like to snap the football with misses 20 seconds on the play clock, so the Benton defense is going to be tested. Are they prepared? Are they hydrated? And do they have enough depth to keep up with the speed that Greenwood wants to go at?
Well, one thing we haven't talked about yet in the pregame show is these teams have met already this year. In fact, all of our state championship matches in this weekend are rematches of regular season games. Greenwood really hammered Benton the first time out. A couple of takeaways. What were your takeaways from that first game?
That was in week 8. It was for the conference championship. Everybody knew that was for the 6A West Conference Championship, and it went about like everybody expected it to early on. Both teams couldn't stop the other. There was a lot of points early on, but a turnover happened right before the half. Greenwood was able to convert that into a touchdown, and then in the second half, another turnover on Benton's side turned into another quick score for Greenwood. I believe it was a 21-all game, turned into a 62-33 rout in favor of the home team, which is Greenwood. This one's obviously a lot closer to home for Benton, but obviously that's got to be in the back of their mind about Benton. Got to take care of the football. Can't give an offense like that extra chances.
The other thing, too, talking about that with the Benton coaching staff about that first matchup between these two teams, and they told me they didn't like the way their run defense played. They didn't fit the gaps well, and Greenwood really got a lot of running yards, big plays against them in that game.
Rick Jones' offense is based a lot like Chad Morse. If you watch the Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturdays, they're a spread team that wants to run the football first. So if you don't establish the line of scrimmage, Greenwood's going to take what they give you. They've got a running back in sophomore Hunter Wilkinson. The numbers don't jump off the page, 5'10", 185 pounds, but 16 touchdowns on the ground, about 700 yards rushing. If you let them run the football, If you give them the line of scrimmage, they'll take 5 and 6 yards all day because they don't mind going 16, 70 yards just bits at a time.
On the other side of the coin, on the other sidelines, as Eric has already alluded to, you're going to see a really good running back for Benton and Zach Wallace. So we'll look at the numbers now. 168 carries on the year, 1,438 yards. That's an average of 8.6 yards per carry. He's got an 89-yard run this year. He is really a guy that's hard to stop.
And when you look at the offensive line for Benton, they're going to be significantly larger than the Greenwood defensive front. That's something the Bulldogs have had to deal with all season long. And you think back against Searcy. Searcy had 2 tackles, 320 pounds each, one playing for the Razorbacks next season. Searcy had negative 21 yards rushing in that first half. So it's going to be a battle of the wheels if you want to, but Benton's got a running back that didn't play much in that first game against Greenwood. That's going to be an added dynamic. But you talk about the size he has, the speed he has, because if he breaks the line of scrimmage at a full tilt and you don't get a body on him, he could be in the secondary in a hurry.
We're waiting on the teams to arrive onto the field. As you look there, the captains are getting set to come out for the coin toss, not momentarily. They're not even on the field, but both teams have brought their entry inflatables, we'll call them, the Panthers and the Bulldogs. And if Eric is still with us, we'll get his thoughts here in just a moment, too, about as the team's about to enter. You look at the team I assume those are the team captains about to come out onto the field, Bobby.
Yeah, it's one of these things is how do you handle the emotions? We're 6.5 minutes from kickoff. How do you handle that final preparation? Once you get through warm-up, you get the lather going, you get a little sweat going. Okay, this is a normal football game, but how do you handle that initial first 2 or 3 minutes of a football game? Because now the preparation's over. The warm-up is over. You're just waiting in the locker room, trying to get on the field, itching to get on the field. How do you handle this adversity? This is a spot Benton hasn't been in quite some time. This senior class has never played in a state championship game. On the other side, Greenwood, this is an old habit for them. This is their 4th consecutive trip to War Memorial.
And as we go back down to Eric Sullivan, Eric, you talked to us about the energy down there. What about the nerves? You get any thought about how these kids are going to handle that out of the gates?
Scott, I'm nervous. I'm working with Scott Emmett and Bobby Swafford, 2 guys that do a great job broadcasting. And you mentioned the inflatable mascot, Scott. If you look behind me here to Benton's, all the dads are having to strap it down and hold it down to keep it from the wind blowing it away. Same thing here with the Greenwood Bulldog. The dads have gotten really smart. They've tied it down to the bleachers. So everybody concerned about the win. And Bobby, you hit it on the head. I think Greenwood has been here. We all know that. They've got going for their 8th state championship here. Benton is that gritty, grinded out, that team that's just, not just glad to be here. They think they can win. They've watched the tape when they got blown out by Greenwood a couple of weeks ago. So they will really try to establish something early. And I always say this, you're always nervous, guys, but after that kickoff, first probably series or 2, it's time to play some football. So a lot of good stuff right there. And key note here, Scott and Bobby, how about Coach Davis of Benton? His son, Drew, plays for OBU, and at 1 o'clock, they are still in the national playoffs. OBU Tigers are. So I feel bad for Mrs. Davis. She's obviously pulling for her husband here with Benton, but Drew Davis also trying to keep that OBU miracle season they're having in the playoffs. So any updates we get on OBU, we'll try to pass it along to Coach Davis, although I don't think he's going to pay attention to me in his ear during this ball game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, just another day at the office. You got to go to work when you got to go to work, right?
Exactly. That's something that his wife has had to deal with forever. Okay, do I go to my son's game? Do I go to my husband's game? He was a really good player. Obviously, his time at Benton, he was at Coach Harris was at Lincoln in Northwest Arkansas before he made the move back to Benton. Made that for family reasons when he made the jump. Had the best season in Lincoln school history, but when he left, and obviously he's got Benton on the verge of their first state championship since 1977. But then you're going against a team in Greenwood that has a state championship in the last calendar year.
As I was driving here today, I was wondering about attendance, not only for this game, but for the entire weekend. I really think there's a good shot that we might set some records this weekend. Obviously, it's an all-Central Arkansas final in the 7A game tonight, and an all-Central Arkansas, an all-Metro Little Rock final tomorrow in the 5A game. And Greenwood, we know, travels well,
right,
because of their history, because of how they support their team. So, I was looking at the state attendance records. I think we might see some challenge this weekend.
And to kind of take that a step farther, Saline County may be completely empty today.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see some carryover, some Bryant fans come want to watch Benton and vice versa in the late game tonight. So there's going to be a lot of fans, especially from just south here of Little Rock, that kind of make a day of it, if you will. There's going to be a busy day here at War Memorial Stadium. You know what, fans like to show up late. We've got 3 minutes to the kickoff. I expect the stadium here to get a little more full as kickoff is approaching.
And it will be interesting, too. I think I know the answer to this. Living in Saline County, Benton and Bryant big-time rivals for that Salt Bowl, but the fact that Benton is here, I think all the Bryant fans would like to see them do well today and vice versa.
Yeah, there's no power rankings in high school football, but you always want the teams that you played to win, especially if it's in a county, because, Bryant wants Benton to win today, and they also want to win a state championship tonight, because not only did we win our county, we won a state championship and vice versa. It's going to be an exciting day for high school football. This is the best weekend of the entire season, and thankfully we get to do it in back-to-back weekends.
Now, we talked about Peyton Holt. We talked about the running backs for Greenwood. Tell us a little bit about the receivers. Who's out there to watch for the Bulldogs today?
They've got three. They tend to spread it around a little bit. Luke Leonard's the leading receiver for Greenwood. Just 5'9", 160 pounds. Not exactly an imposing presence on the outside, but 75 catches, 861 yards, and 6 touchdowns.
The second half, you guys want the ball? Which goal do y'all want to defend? You will.
All right, so obviously you heard the coin toss there. Greenwood, the winners of the coin toss, they have deferred their option to the second half, so Benton will get the ball first to begin things here in the 6A championship game, about 90 seconds away from kickoff.
That's a staple for Rick Jones, and he always wants to defer to the second half. He likes to start fast. You like to jump out to a lead, but he likes that time at halftime to adjust, because you never know what kind of adjustments you can make at halftime. When you come out of the locker room after a break and score, sometimes you can break the back of your opponent.
Well, you talk about these Benton Panthers as they go on offense first, 41.4 points per game on the season, and they will play a 2-quarterback system. Likely to play both today. A 5'11", 158-pound senior, Colin Morrow. He came back from injury in Week 10. He was the starter but got hurt early on in the year. He's elusive, more mobile of the 2 quarterbacks we'll see today. His numbers, 56% on the completion percentage. 896 yards, 13 touchdowns against just 2 picks. On the other side, Garrett Brown, who's more of a pocket passer. He surprised the coaching staff with 2,000 yards passing, and last time against Greenwood, he was the guy. And here come the Benton Panthers. And the Greenwood Bulldogs.
We mentioned it in the pregame a little bit, Scott. How do these teams handle the pressure? How do they handle the moments? It's the first couple possessions of this football game, because you've seen it time and time again in state title games. One turnover early can really give momentum to one side, and a lot of times it's hard to stunt that momentum once it starts rolling downhill.
So we finish up on those numbers for Garrett Brown. Right at 2,000 yards passing. He threw for 384 against Greenwood in a loss. Had 3 touchdowns and an interception. He was 25 out of 47. Surprised the coaching staff with his abilities when he was thrust into action as a sophomore, and carried the ball very well as leadership goes for Benton while Morrow was on the sidelines with injury. And then Morrow came back in Week 10. And they've had a hard time going with one guy because both have been playing so well. So we'll likely see Morrow and Brown both today.
The old adage of if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks really doesn't apply to today's football anymore. You put the best guys in your system out on the field. You try to get them in the best situation possible. You try to get them to make plays. And obviously Benton thinks they've got 2. And Rick Jones told me earlier this week they may even have 3 quarterbacks that Benton rolls out there.
So Garrett Enos will kick off. Back deep to receive for Benton, Gavin Wells and Kelby Caffrey. Caffrey's starter on defense, and Wells is a starting wide receiver. Well, the pregame clock is at zeros. They've got 12 on the first quarter clock. We are ready to begin the 6A state championship game. Fans on both sides on their feet. That's going to take a high hop and be a touchback. Caffrey fields it above his head there. But he didn't want to bring that out of the end zone, and the Panthers will start at the 20.
It's a familiar spot for the Greenwood defense. Enos has got more than 70% of touchbacks on kickoffs this season. That one wasn't the prettiest of one, but it got the job done, got into the end zone, which in high school is an automatic touchback, so that's why he didn't have the opportunity to bring it out there.
All right, so we just talked about the 2-quarterback system. It's going to be the sophomore Garrett Brown out of the gates here for Coach Brad Harris. Zach Wallace beside him in the backfield. And it's a give on the end around to Body. But Body's going to lose yardage. 3-yard loss on the play.
Austin Archer, we talked about him in the pregame. The 2 ends for Greenwood already making plays in the backfield. Had 18 tackles for a loss coming into the state championship game. Most on the team. He's added to that total already.
That'll bring up a 2nd down and 13. Call it 12. Wells and Wallace in the backfield. This is Wallace on the play fake. They'll get it out to Wells, and Wells breaks 1 tackle and gets a lot of that yardage back. And a flag down. That's going to be a late hit out of bounds after a 7-yard pickup.
That's the emotions. You have to be able to contain them early on. Obviously, he was pushed out of bounds. Got to stop at the whistle. Got to stop at the white chalk on the sidelines. And obviously, somebody lost their cool there, and this could be a free 1st down for the Panthers.
Number 15, defense, 15-yard.
That is exactly what it is. That'll be the first down of the game for the Benton Panthers, moving it all the way out to the 40-yard line.
That's a big penalty early in the game. The Greenwood, you potentially have a chance to get off the field on a 3rd down stop, and instead, a new set of downs for Benton almost to midfield.
Well, the 3rd play of the drive, and Wallace has yet to get the football. They faked it to him on the last play. 1st and 10 from the 40, and here's Wallace. It's a short gain. Josh Mays brings him down after a 2-yard pickup.
He's the biggest guy on the defensive line for Greenwood. He's kind of that run stuffer up the middle. Mays, 42 tackles this season, 4 sacks, 14 for a loss, but he's kind of that run stuffer up the gut, and he's going to have a big game to try to slow down Wallace.
Wallace is back there again with Brown. He's met in the backfield, and a host of Greenwood Bulldogs there to pull him down for a negative gain. Josh Mays, after a loss, brings him down for a loss of 5.
Back-to-back big plays by the big defensive tackle in the interior. If you can't slow him down, talking about a Benton offensive line standpoint, it's going to be a long day for Wallace, a long day for the Benton offense if they're in third and long situations like they are here.
Mays, 6'2", 264, a senior, making his presence felt very early here in this championship game. 3rd down and a bundle here. 13 to move the sticks for Benton. Play fake to Wallace. Good time for Wells. He's got a man. It is caught by Body, and he is brought down short of the sticks.
Decision time for Brad Harris. Early in the game, do you go for it? 4th and about 2 from your own 48. We'll see how much dice he wants to roll early on.
Well, he is leaving his offense on the field.
At the Panther 48.
Going to be a long 2 yards here to get. They've got to get to the midfield stripe. It's going to be a keeper by Wells. He makes a couple of guys miss, and he will be very close to a 1st down, and flags flying all over the place. I think he got it, Bobby.
It looks like he got to the midfield stripe, but is this going to be a face mask or is this going to be a hold? Looked like there's a lot of reaching hands in the pile there.
Personal foul, face mask, number 51, defense, 15-yard
kind of a moot point.
1st down.
That is the 2nd 15-yard penalty against the Bulldogs on this opening drive for the Panthers.
And that's just something you cannot have. Greenwood, one of the most least penalized teams in all of Arkansas, especially in Class 6A. Very uncharacteristic to see the Bulldogs give up 30 yards on this opening drive because of penalty.
1st and 10 from the 35 of the Bulldogs. Wells is going to give it to Wallace. Looked like he had the edge, but it closed quickly. Only a 1-yard gain for Zach Wallace.
That's going to be the key for Greenwood's defense. They've been able to bottle Wallace up to this point. Obviously just a couple carries to start off with, but swarming bodies. Not going to be able to bring him down with just one, maybe even two defenders. Got to get 4 and 5 guys around the football. Have done a nice job so far.
1 yard on the game for Wallace, 2nd and 9.
Second down and 9, just inside the 35. And it's Wallace again right up the middle. Big hole. He gets inside the 30-yard line. Aaron Workman brings him down. A gain of 9.
It's 3rd and manageable, exactly what you want as a Benton coaching staff.
Wallace again, and again a hole. Good stop, but he gets inside the 25-yard line. That's going to be enough to move the sticks for Benton. Aaron Workman again there to bring him down after a 4-yard gain.
It's not a situation Greenwood wants to be in. They're having their secondary members bring down Wallace one-on-one, but they've been able to do it the last 2 plays.
Wells is set up man on the outside, but they'll give it to Wallace again. Nice cut by Wallace. He breaks a tackle, headed towards the pylon. Touchdown, Panthers!
That's the start you want if you're Benton. You were blown out the first time you faced Greenwood in the regular season. You come out, you get a couple gifts of a first down, and you get your big workhorse working in the backfield. Wallace makes a guy miss, and you see the breakaway speed. Greenwood doesn't have many defenders that are going to be able to keep up with him in a foot race, and he gets his way across the goal line, and the Panthers have an early lead.
Garrett Eason is on to attempt the point after for Benton. Snap and hold down, and the kick is good. And the Panthers strike first in the 6A championship game here at War Memorial Stadium, thanks to a 24-yard touchdown run by Zach Wallace. Back with the kickoff after this, you're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
You won't find it written in the sky.
Art can be seen as so foundational to civilization.
You can't buy it to get to it tonight.
It just had an electrifying impact on me.
It's harder and harder to see what's true, but it's never been easier when I'm with you. Yeah, it's harder and harder and harder to doubt these things.
What we found was amazing.
But when I see the smile across your face and the sunrise lights up another day,
Be absolutely outrageous.
It came like a razor blade. Art is a mirror of the experiences of being here.
Garrett Easton sets the kickoff for the Panthers. It'll be the first offensive possession upcoming for the Greenwood Bulldogs after the Panthers strike first on a methodical drive, really, Bobby.
Really were. They were able to establish the line of scrimmage. The first 2 rushing attempts, they went backwards for the Benton Panthers. But from that point, able to get a push up front. Wallace bounced a couple to the outside, and you can see the strength of the Benton running back. They're not going to be able to bring him down with arm tackles or really even just one guy around the football. He's able to break free for the touchdown, and that's the start that you want if you're Benton. Now Greenwood's got to try to answer, and they've got the benefit of the wind here on the kickoff, so you think they should get pretty decent field position.
Wind blew the ball off the tee. It's back on now. This will be a short kick, angling towards the out of bounds. Mishandled by Luke Leonard. He's going to pick it up and go with it, and only makes it back to the 11-yard line.
That equalizes the elements. You don't field the kickoff. It's actually a well-placed kick. Leonard kind of faced with that decision. Do I let it go? Maybe it rolls out of bounds, or I try to field it. Leonard tries to make the play, and now Greenwood's backed up inside their own 15.
So here comes Peyton Holt, Landers Award finalist. Fantastic quarterback in a long line of quarterbacks that have had tremendous success at Greenwood. But he is backed up on his own end to start. He's going to throw it wide to Leonard. Leonard's got a blocker in front. He's got a first down and just missed. A long game, maybe even a touchdown run there.
Devin Griffin, the corner for Benton, that saved a touchdown. That looked like that was going 89 yards, but as he was falling backwards, able to throw a hand out there, just clipped Leonard's foot, able to get him on the ground.
21 yards right out of the gates to get Greenwood out of the shadow of their own end zone.
That's what Greenwood likes to do. They like to go east and west, draw those safeties up, and that's when they hit you in the play action and go up over the top.
Hunter Wilkinson in the backfield with Holt on 1st and 10 at the 32. Another quick pass connects with Trayton Dawson, and Dawson gets a short gain of about 4.
You're going to see the Greenwood running backs really active in the passing game, whether it's catching the football out of the backfield, or there you saw Wilkinson actually being the lead blocker on the screen pass. They like him, and they like Mark Jones coming out of the backfield doing different things rather than just a typical running back who only carries the football.
Bulldogs quick back up to the line of scrimmage. We're going to get whistles before the snap. And a flag on the far side. This could go against Greenwood.
Dead ball, encroachment, 17 defensive. 5-yard penalty.
It's one of those penalties you almost like to see them adapt the rule. In high school football, they blow it dead if his lines up offsides. You almost like to see the play out of free play you see in college and the pros. I know it's high school. They've got different rules. That's almost something you like to see adjusted at the high school level.
Does not give Greenwood a first down, but they've got an opportunity here with 2nd and short. It's going to be a keeper. And they're going to lose yardage. Holt is wrestled down in the backfield by Kelby Caffrey, a loss of 2.
He's a guy that is all over the stat sheet for Benton, and you can see why. Able to break down. Peyton Holt, not brought down by many one-on-one defenders, but he just swallows up the Greenwood quarterback, and now it's a third down for this Bulldogs offense.
You think 2nd and a yard is a foregone conclusion. You're going to get the first down, but now 3rd and about 3 or 4. Quick pass again on the out, and it's a connection and another first down as Dawson reels it in for Greenwood.
You know, the Benton defensive backs aren't playing that far off of the receivers on the outside, but as soon as the ball is snapped, they're backpedaling, which is allowing Greenwood these quick, short, and highly impressive or successful passes that are moving the chains.
You take what the defense gives you, right?
Exactly.
Wilkinson in motion out of the backfield. 1st and 10 and another flag. 4 of them, in fact.
Offense, number 56, 5-yard penalty.
It's the downside of playing offensive line. You're a big boy. You move, everybody sees you.
And they all did. That'll make it a 1st and 15 back at the 42. Holt has plenty of time to throw. Now the pocket's going to break down. He fumbles the football, and it looks like Greenwood got on it.
It looks like Benton's going to be content with dropping 8. They only rushed 3 there. They're going to make Peyton Holt beat him with his arm, because containing the Greenwood quarterback has been a problem for a lot of defenses, and that time you can definitely call that a covered sack.
Nathan Nethers, the right tackle, falls on it for the Bulldogs after a loss of 7, though. Compounded on top of that false start penalty and a Greenwood player down.
Very uncharacteristic. I said it on the opening drive for Benton, but to see this many penalties by a Greenwood team to start a football game, you don't think of them being the team with nerves, but right now it looks like they are.
And that is Nethers, the right tackle, who made the fumble recovery, but in the mass pile up there, he is slow to get up.
3 penalties and now the fumble. This puts Greenwood down 7 and backed up, back to their own 35-yard line. You don't convert many 2nd and 22s. This is a situation where if you're Chris Young, the Greenwood offensive coordinator, you've got to call something up that you're going to get 8, 9, 10 yards and make it at least a 3rd and manageable, because you don't really think you're going to hit 22 yards on any defense, let alone in the state championship game.
Yeah, you're right when you talk about the penalties. 2 of them on the defensive side, aiding the Benton touchdown drive, and now a false start and a fumble as Greenwood behind the sticks big time. But it's just 2nd down. 2 downs to get there. 5 receivers in this set. Holt, plenty of time again. Nobody's open, though. And now he's going to scramble. And he's short of the sticks. Kelby Caffrey, comes up and makes a tackle for a loss. And a flag is down.
That's twice on this drive. Caffrey's been able to bring down Holt one-on-one. Normally that's a battle that Greenwood would take every time. Again, the Panthers dropped 8, making Holt beat him with the arm.
Holding. He's the clock. Brings up 3rd down.
That holding penalty will be declined because obviously Benton wants to have one more down to play here. The second and about 23.
If you look at what Benton's if you look at what Benton's defense is doing, they've got everybody within 5 or 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. Nobody deep down the middle. Maybe sneak a running back down the seam. That may be where Greenwood can hit a big play.
Holt's going to come out of the pocket on the move. He's going to go deep and make a connection, and that is close to the first down. And I believe it will be a first down.
That's Lazario Angel. The back shoulder throw. As the wind obviously made that one not the prettiest of throws, but it gets the job done. And what a demoralizing play for this Benton defense. You've got 3rd and 22, 3rd and a mile, and Greenwood finds a way to convert.
Well, he had man coverage set up there and took advantage of it, and now they are across into plus territory. And the handoff goes to Wilkinson. Not much there for Wilkinson. He gets just inside the 40-yard line. That'll be a gain of 2, brought down by Bryce Goller.
Not a lot of push there. You got to give credit to this front 3 for Benton so far. I'm sure Greenwood's now in plus territory, but they've done a nice job of establishing the line of scrimmage with just the 3 bodies, and obviously that's a win for Benton.
Holt will go with an empty backfield again, and on the quarterback draw, gets some extra yardage inside the 35-yard line, where Kyvan Carroll brings him down. It'll be a pickup of about 6, and it's 3rd down and 3.
More traditional set. Greenwood's been 5 wide a lot to start this game, but this is going to be their base formation to 1 back in the backfield with Peyton Holt.
The handoff goes to Wilkinson, trying to find corner, and he will not be able to get the first down.
We saw Brad Harris go for it on 4th down on their opening possession at the Benton 32. You got to expect Greenwood's going to go for it as well, especially with these conditions.
Yeah, you would definitely assume, especially this spot on the field, they'll go for it on 4th down and 1.
Not going to be a whole lot of kicking in this game. Rick Jones told me earlier in this week that he hates kicking field goals. He's got one of the best scoring kickers in Arkansas high school history, and he says he hates kicking field goals. It's kind of a conundrum there for Rick Jones.
Holt's going to run for it behind a receiver blocking core, and he will have the first down. Brought down at the 26-yard line by Gavin Davis.
Just a numbers game. You motion 2 guys out. You got 4 receivers on the left side of the offense, and Holt finds a hole behind his bevy of gray jerseys on that side.
6-yard pickup for Peyton Holt. He has run the ball very effectively so far on this opening drive. He's going to do it again. Finds room to the 20-yard line. That's a good gain on first down.
This is kind of what they do. Greenwood, if you give them 5 or 6 yards on first down, they'll take it. Whether it was Wilkinson out of the backfield or Holt keeping it as a quarterback, they're just methodically moving the ball down the field since they picked up that 3rd and long.
Trey Maxwell with the stop for Benton after a 6-yard pickup. Brings up 2nd down and 4, and the Bulldogs entering the red zone. Holt again met at the corner, and a stack of Panthers drive him back. He maybe got down. We'll give him a yard maybe, but he stopped right at the line of scrimmage, maybe even lost yardage.
Nice job by Cameron Ross coming from depth and made the one-on-one play on Peyton Holt. And you're exactly right, Scott, dropped him for a loss.
This Benton front has really held up well on this opening drive, but Greenwood got the big pass to keep it going, and now a big 3rd down play. You got to figure this is 4-down territory, possibly 2, depending on what happens on this play. Wilkinson in the backfield. It's going to be an option play right, and Holt's got the first down. Boy, he had lots of room on that right side.
The first thing as a quarterback when you run the option is you look for that guy who's supposed to make you pitch the football. There was nobody there. Holt able to keep it himself, and chains are moving.
It's a 7-yard gain. Cameron Ross made the stop for the Panthers. And the Bulldogs can get another first down. They're set up at the 11-yard line. We're down to the 3:03 mark here in the first quarter. Both teams have only had the ball once. Holt looking for room on the outside again, and Benton stops him after no gain. Kelby Caffrey with the stop. There is a flag down.
Already 5 minutes have elapsed on this drive for Greenwood. A lot of moving back, a lot of moving forward, and a lot of hankies on the field so far for this Greenwood offense.
And again, penalties have been an issue here in the first quarter for the Bulldogs.
It's now 4. 2 on both sides of the football, and this one obviously a big one. Backs you way up. Now you're facing another first and looks like 20 here.
Got another Greenwood player dinged up a little bit. One of the offensive linemen, Colton Simpson, slow to get back.
Not about a shoe issue there. Maybe not so banged up. But Greenwood has an advantage on the offensive line. They rotate linemen throughout a game. Sometimes they'll go 6, maybe even 7 offensive line. So they've got some guys on the sideline with big game experience. So if a guy does go down like we've already seen, they have a bit of an advantage over other teams.
1st and 20. Holt goes deep towards the end zone, and it is batted away, intended for Lazaro Angel. A fantastic play by the Benton cornerback, Devin Griffin.
Nice job by Griffin. He saved the touchdown earlier, able to get his hand up at the last minute. But again, it looked like the wind affected that pass by Holt. He had his man wide open, but just at the last minute, Griffin throws a paw up and saves a touchdown.
2nd down and 20. A lot of poise by Holt. Time to throw. Now he's flushed out again. Another flag is down, and Benton is going to wrestle him down out of bounds for a big loss. 8 yards for the moment. Dylan Ferguson, the first guy to meet him and push him out of bounds.
Where that flag's thrown, you got to believe it's another holding call on this Greenwood offensive line. Benton will likely decline this, so now you're faced with another 3rd and a mile. So you, Rick Jones, you're thinking here we got to get 10, 12 yards, maybe get in field goal range. But the way the wind's blowing right now, it looks like it's going 20, maybe even gusting up to 30 miles an hour as we watch the flags here at War Memorial. Points are not guaranteed on this end of the field.
Third down. They've got to get to the 11. Holt
wide open.
Has a man in and out of the hands of Luke Leonard.
That's the matchup Greenwood wants. Benton's shown they're not going to play with a safety deep down the middle. Leonard was behind the defense just a tick out of his reach, and it looks like Greenwood is going to try a field goal with Grant Enos.
This is going to be a long one. That wind is really at his back, but it is swirling a little bit.
It is, and you see the flags on the uprights blowing a little from right to his left. He's got a big leg. I believe he's got a long of 47 in his career. This kicking all weekend long, especially today in this afternoon game, is going to be an adventure.
Well, when you think about how this one might play out, this would be a big win for the Benton Panther defense.
Not only getting a stop, but the amount of time that Greenwood's taken off the clock on this drive.
A 45-yarder by Enos. Plenty of distance, and it's good.
Drills it.
Wow.
Yeah. Rick Jones says he hates kicking field goals, but he probably likes kicking that one. 45 yards, and with the wind, thanks to that, that was good from probably 55.
That puts Greenwood on the board. But again, a big win for the Benton defense to keep them out of the end zone. It's a 7-3 Panther lead as we take a look at the field goal again.
It's hammered it right down the middle, and Eric Sullivan right between the uprights saying it was good.
Yeah, Eric right under the goalpost down there to get a bird's eye view of that. Let's go down and check with him, Eric.
Yeah, guys, I think you got called it right there. Benton to hold Greenwood to just 3 points right there was big. And, man, the wind really took that kick to another 10 or 15 yards. And, guys, I've been hanging out on the Benton sideline for most of the first quarter, and the coaching staff really stressing stick to our game plan, play our game, which is methodical, run that football. And I think, guys, you saw it, Bobby, I think you even alluded to it. Benton's really just playing straight up man defense, rushing the offensive line the best they can with their D-line and playing straight up in the passing game, and got a couple big victories right there with their D-backs. So as of right now, Benton feeling really good about themselves. Greenwood, we know, will adjust, but they're kind of scratching their heads a little bit so far, but it is very early in what could be an outstanding finish in this 6A state championship game, guys.
That's a matchup that's going to be really interesting to watch as we move forward in this game. Can Benton's defensive backs keep up man-to-man? Speed-wise, it's not going to be a factor, but it's the repetitive, okay, he's running a hitch, all of a sudden you run a hitch and go. How is your man-to-man discipline? And that's when Greenwood takes advantage of opponents, because they're so methodical in what they do. And we've already seen a couple of receivers running wide open for Greenwood. Holt hit one, missed the one that would have been a touchdown. Those are the type of plays that could determine this game.
The football is blown off the tee twice now, so this is going to have it held in place. Kelby Caffrey and Gavin Wells are back deep to receive for the Panthers. The last one went in the end zone on a hop. Another low kick. Going to be fielded by an up back at the 12-yard line. Body crosses the 25-yard line, tries to hit a seam there, but it collapses quickly. It'll still be pretty good field position for the Panthers to start their second possession.
That's back-to-back kickoffs now for Enos that haven't exactly been the prettiest. The wind obviously has a lot to do with that. You kick a field goal that looks like it's good from 50, and then the ensuing kickoff not so pretty, and now Benton's got decent field position to start their ensuing drive.
Going to be Brown again at quarterback for Coach Brad Harris. The Panthers were aided by 2 personal foul 15-yard penalties on the Greenwood defense on their first drive. Wallace had some good runs at the end, including the 29-yarder for the score, and he's going to start him off this time. Looking for room on the outside. Another flag goes down as Wallace has run out of bounds at the 25. It's a loss of 2. Good play by Trey Woods up from the secondary for Greenwood.
Greenwood able to stretch that one out, but there's been a trend here in the first quarter, just 2 minutes left in this first period, but there's been a lot of yellow laundry on the field. You know, both coaches are wanting their sides to clean it up.
There's no foul on the play.
Well, they picked this one up.
That makes me look bad, Scott.
I don't think the Greenwood fans much cared for that either. They thought it might have been a hold.
That's a nice job by the Greenwood defense, though, able to string Wallace around. They couldn't make the play at initial contact, but able to keep bouncing him outside, and eventually the sideline got him.
Now, they got to get the spot corrected, because Wallace was run out of bounds close to the 25-yard line. Give him a favorable spot there on second and a long 11 now. Quick hitter on a slant, and the catch is made by Michael Allison, and he's short of the first down. That was a good open field tackle by Gunnar Perkins.
Much like Benton was giving no room to the Greenwood receivers off the line of scrimmage, Greenwood's given a little space, and Benton was able to take advantage, and now again a 3rd and short.
Well, if Perkins doesn't make that stop,
he's running for a while.
For a long, he might still be running. 3rd down and 2 at the 35. Wallace, the running back, and he gets the call. Bounces outside, but Greenwood has too many men there. No gain.
It's a nice job swarming to the football. The initial contact by the defensive end. We talked about Archer. We've talked about Hanna. Able to set the end of the line of scrimmage. He bounces back in. The linebacker's able to bounce in and clean it up.
That's going to produce the first punt of the football game in the final minute of this first quarter.
Now this is going to be an adventure, trying to field kicks in this weather, especially going in this direction. This punt for Benton, you know, if he gets it up, may go 15, 20 yards based on this wind. That's when he's going to hit it 60. It'll make me look bad again.
Alan Vargas to punt, and Holt, the Greenwood quarterback, is set up to return. almost blocked. Not sure, it might not have even had a piece grabbed on it. Holt's going to field it. On a hop and go nowhere.
Nice job again by 11 for Benton. Kelby Caffrey's made 2 big plays defensively, and if he doesn't make that play on the punt return, Peyton Holt could be running for a while.
It's a 42-yard punt.
I like the rugby style because of the wind. It keeps it low, kick it away from the returner. I like that philosophy about Benton, especially with these conditions.
Holt will have 4 receivers stacked on either side, and the give is to Wilkinson. Finds no room up the middle and no room on the outside. Boy, Benton's front has been very good against those interior runs.
Winning first down, that's been big. Benton's offense has won first down, and now Benton's defense wins first down on what's likely the last play of the first quarter.
Dylan Ferguson, one of the first men there. It'll be a loss of 2, and that will indeed be the final play of the first period. So the Panthers struck first. Greenwood held to a field goal, but now they're on the march after 1 here in the 6A state championship game. We'll be back to War Memorial in a moment. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
The Everett difference is much more than just vehicle sales and service. It's also our commitment to helping those who help others, like those who work to build communities, those who help to enrich the lives of children, those who provide a loving home to kids in need, and those who lend a helping hand when you need it. It's a privilege to work with these wonderful organizations, and we're grateful for everything they do. That's the Everett difference. Everett Buick GMC.
Broadcast of this championship game is made possible by
Law Offices of Gary Green, a people's practice, representing people with serious injuries in areas of personal injury, nursing home negligence, and product liability. We are proud to be underwriters of AETN.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas to provide reliable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
We're set to begin play in the second quarter. Let's go down quickly to the sidelines and Eric Sullivan.
Sideline here, and boy, Scott, you and I are probably a little bit older than Bobby Swafford, but the technology these guys have with their playback machines on the sideline, Greenwood really studying what went on that first drive. They got 3 points out of it, but we all know Greenwood wants to score touchdowns, and they're not going to get one here pretty soon because it looks like Benton has a lot of confidence, and of course they've got a lot of mojo right now heading into this second quarter. Their run game has been well, and of course, Scott and Bobby, you've alluded to it, the D-line play of Benton outstanding so far.
All right, thank you, Eric. Holt connects with Wilkinson out of the backfield for a short gain of about 1 yard to start things off here for Greenwood in the second quarter. Yeah, the technology has definitely advanced over the years, not that many years. Wilkinson goes in motion out of the backfield. Good time. Holt going deep. He's got a man again. Off to the races he goes. All the way for the touchdown.
Austin Ole, I believe, on that number 11 on the stat sheet. That's what we were talking about, Scott. Can Benton's guys keep up on a consistent basis, man to man? That time Ole got behind the Benton defense, and to the house they go for 6.
71 yards on the big play for the Greenwood Bulldogs.
That's the risk you take. You want to go man-to-man. You've got the athletes to do it, but instead a guy gets behind him and Holt doesn't miss that time, and he's in the end zone.
Grant Enos is on for the point after. And movement again looks like up front.
Dead ball, false start, 78 offense, 5-yard penalty, retry.
It doesn't quite crack the stat sheet for the longest touchdown pass in state championship game history. It cuts off at 72, so apologies to the Ole family. Didn't quite crack the list. In case you're wondering, 94 yards, longest ever pass in the touchdown. That's 2000, Portsmouth Southside.
Enos will have to put it through from 25 yards out, but that's no problem. And Greenwood has taken the lead for the first time in the first minute of the second quarter. Bulldogs up 10-7, and we'll take a break. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
One of the best things about being a community-focused bank like Centennial is that we encourage our employees to volunteer and give back. That's why our bankers are often seen around town involved in activities that have less to do with money matters and more to do with supporting others. From charity events and disaster relief to Chamber of Commerce and civic activities, we enjoy rolling up our sleeves and helping make our community a better place. See for yourself the difference our local commitment can make. More information available at my100bank.com. Centennial Bank, member FDIC.
Experience Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as they celebrated their 30th anniversary in their hometown of Gainesville, Florida. Watch Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live from Gainesville, the 30th anniversary concert. Tonight at 11.
A 71-yard touchdown pass from Peyton Holt to Aaron Ohl as Greenwood grabbing their first lead in today's 6A state championship game.
Not bad when you have a 72-yard drive and 71 of it comes on one play. Yes. You'll take that.
Yes. Bulldogs scored 62 against Benton the last time these two teams met. Kelby Caffrey and Gavin Wells will be back deep to return as you take another look at the touchdown play. But you're right, the man coverage, that's been what Greenwood has exploited, Bobby. They've been able to get their receivers behind the Benton defensive backs.
So now the game within the game happens. Does Benton come out and go zone on the next possession, or do they stick with their guns and go man like they've done on the first two possessions?
They're getting what they want up front, but it's coming at a cost on the back end. Grant Enos to kick off again. This one will not make the end zone, so Wells is going to bring it. Doesn't get back to the 20. 17-yard kickoff return, and the Panthers will start at their own 18.
We've seen some nice open field tackles on both sides of defense and there on special teams for Greenwood. You know, that's something that's kind of lost in today's football, making a play in open space, and we've seen a nice job of it by these two teams today so far. I don't want to jinx it just yet.
Garrett Brown again, the Benton quarterback, and Zach Wallace again back there in the backfield. Offset to his right as the Panthers try to get the lead back. Brown throws complete for the first down to Michael Allison.
You can tell that's a setup play. You saw Wallace motion out to the flats, just kind of stood there. You can tell that's a play they're going to put in the back of Greenwood's mind, and they're going to probably try to hit Wallace on maybe a double pass or something later in the game.
It's a 7-yard pickup, marking down at the 25-yard line. 2nd and 3. Again, a quick pass out to the running back Wallace, and he makes one man miss. That'll get him the first down. And they'll mark him down at about the 35-yard line. It's a pickup of 11. Aaron Workman brought him down. First guy to him for the Bulldogs.
That's why Wallace is so dangerous. You get him in space. Not many guys can bring him down one-on-one. Of course, as soon as I talk about they're playing well in space, Wallace makes the guy miss and picks up a first down for Benton.
You can tell he has very good ability at doing that. Wallace had a big year, 1,438 yards coming into this one. Wells is back there with him, and the handoff goes to Wells. He finds a nice hole on the right side, and that's a pretty good first down gain. Although minimal for these two offenses. It's a 4-yard pickup. The tackle made by Morgan Hanna.
It's a big defensive end for Greenwood, 6'4", 230. He's a guy that can make some plays on the ends, but you don't want to make it 4 and 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, though.
2nd and 6.
2nd down and 6 for the Panthers. Play action. Brown with all day, and he's going for the home run ball and just throws his intended receiver, Garrett Body.
You'd like to blame the wind on that, but you look at the flags in the north end zone, they've kind of died down a little bit. Just overshot his receiver, but that was the big play that Benton could have got. We talked about how Greenwood has responded. They fall down 7-0. Bulldogs come back and get 10 straight points. Now how does the Panthers respond now that Greenwood's got their first lead?
Benton's offensive line giving him plenty time to throw, too. If that holds up, Brown may take another shot. But they need to move the sticks. 3rd and 6 from the 40. Play action. Brown throws incomplete, intended for Gavin Wells. Pass.
Dawson James got there right about the same time the football did.
Good job of breaking up the pass.
That's back-to-back stops now for the Greenwood defense. All the momentum to start this football game was on the visiting sideline. You're starting to see it shifts back to the home side with Greenwood.
Preston Barker to punt for Benton. Greenwood's quarterback Peyton Holt again back to return. Back-to-back stops for this Greenwood defense. Benton can't afford many of those. This one's going to sail over Holt's head. He tries to field it. Now he's in trouble. Brings it back out to the 13-yard line, and there's another flag down.
It came from about 45 yards away from the action. But when you see it, you see it.
That was a 55-yard punt and an 8-yard return by Holt. We'll see about the flag.
Personal foul, blindside block, number 52 of the return team. Penalties half to the goal, first down.
It's a 3rd personal foul penalty in the first 15 minutes of game action on Greenwood. 6 penalties now overall. The yardage not as quite as dooming on that one because of the half the distance, but still you don't never want to start a drive inside your own 10.
Well, you look at where Greenwood is, up 3, and having a hard time of getting out of their own way.
Yeah.
So they've been able to overcome it so far.
And you got to believe a lot of that first drive for Benton was aided by the 2 personal foul penalties on defense.
Handoff goes to Leonard. Leonard turns the corner and gets positive yardage up to the 15-yard line. Terry Jones makes the stop for the Panthers, but not before a pickup of 7.
Starting to see a little frustration on the Greenwood coaching staff because they want this penalty disparity to start to even out a little bit. Right now it's 6-1. Can't really complain at the penalties that were called, but you know how coaches are. They always want it right down the middle.
2nd and short. Here's Wilkinson. Don't think he's going to get to the first down yard marker. Caleb Kaufman, the first guy to meet him. Testing the middle has not been a successful place for the Bulldogs. The Benton front has been good. That is a pickup of 3, and it is going to be enough to move the sticks.
Nice first push there. Nice spots, but a big first down. This is where you want to at least flip the field position if you're Greenwood's offense.
Holt to throw, and he throws low and incomplete. Intended for Lazaro Angel.
That was the first pass of this drive, but there we saw the Benton defense was in a zone. They've got 3 guys backing up, including 1 guy deep in the middle. That's number 12, the safety, Cameron Ross. They've got a guy playing center field now. They saw him get beat on the last possession. Now they've got a little safety blanket back there.
Second and 10. Holt again goes wide, connects with Luke Leonard, and Leonard run out of bounds at the 30-yard line. That's going to be enough for a first down. It's a pickup of 12.
And 75 catches on the season coming into today, already doing some damage for the Greenwood offense in the passing game.
Handoff goes to Wilkinson, and he has a good hole to spurt through over the 35-yard line. Stopped by Gavin Davis, linebacker for Benton, after a pickup of 6.
Starting to see the offensive line establish itself in the running game for Greenwood. Benton dominated up front in the first quarter, leaning back the other direction here early in the second.
Holt's going to run it. Test the outside and gets loose. One man to beat. Can't stay in bounds.
That's where he's so dangerous. He gets him on the edge. You know, his small stature is Peyton Holt. Stands 5'9", maybe. That's a little generous. 175 pounds, but he's a tough guy to get on the ground. Small, low center of gravity. Shows off some wheels there and gets in secondary.
A 23-yard gain. Cameron Ross finally ran him out of bounds for the Benton Panthers. But the Bulldogs are threatening again, and they have a chance to go up 2 scores. Hunter Wilkinson in the backfield with Holt. Holt to throw. All day, now flushed out. Buys time, more flags down. This one may be coming back. It's caught by Leonard, and Leonard's going to break free, get inside the 5-yard line, and run down by Kelby Caffrey, but we'll see about those flags.
It's hard to argue when 3 officials throw the same holding call. Yeah. I don't know if all 3 are supposed to be watching that part of the field, but can't really argue with it.
It's coming back.
Again, self-inflicted wounds for Greenwood. Make it 7 penalties for 66 yards already.
Let's go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric Sullivan. Eric.
Yeah, Scott, while Coach Jones happy his guys have got 10 straight points, he is so angry right now with the undisciplined penalties right now, really keeping Benton in this ball game. When you look at it, that one was a bad one. 3 guys all called for holding right there. So if they don't clean that up, they're going to keep Benton's chances alive to hang around in this football game. And we are closing in on halftime.
Thank you, Eric. And Benton has called a timeout defensively here. And they've got to come up with something, because in this type of game, if you look at the way it went the first time these 2 teams met, you've got to find some stops on that Greenwood offense, or you're going to get behind big time.
Really do, and now would be a great time to do it. The holding call 10 yards from the spot of the foul, so it's a 1st and 27. This would be a prime spot for the Benton defense to come up with the stop. We've already seen Greenwood flip the field position. We're already across midfield before that penalty. They were in the shadow of their own goalpost, but the Benton defense needs to flex up, because you never want to fall down double digits, especially to a team as explosive as Greenwood.
Greenwood looking for their 8th state championship since 2004. Rick Jones has led them there each and every time. 15th year as the head coach of the Bulldogs.
And this is their 10th appearance in the state championship game with Rick Jones. 4th consecutive. Hard to believe you have that kind of success on a year-by-year basis.
Beat Pine Bluff last year. Let's see what he dials up on 1st and 27. They'll chip away at it. Short pass to Ole, who had the touchdown, and he gets it out the midfield.
That's a good term to use, Scott. Just chip away. You're never going to pick up 1st and 27, but they get a big chunk of it there.
Got 8.
And now you're talking about 2nd and 18, 19.
Second down and 19 for the Bulldogs at the 50.
Holt out of an empty backfield. Has time to survey. Now he's going to run. That's a good gain inside the 45-yard line. It'll make 3rd and 12 after a pickup of about 6.
That's a win for both sides. Greenwood just wanting to get a little closer to 3rd and manageable. Benton will take 5 or 6 yards on 2nd and long situation. But again, here for Benton, this is a big play. 3rd and 13 on the sticks. Got to get a stop here if you're the Panther defense.
They'll give it to Wilkinson, and now on the end around, and it's going to be a reverse pass to the quarterback, Holt. And Peyton Holt has the first down inside the red zone.
How many times have we seen that play since the Super Bowl? That's the exact replica of the Philly special. The Eagles ran it against the Patriots. Unfortunately, I'm a Patriots guy. Cost my team a championship. There moves the chains running. I'm sorry, Sully. We all can't be perfect fans.
L.D. Richmond made the pass. He's a backup quarterback as well. And Peyton Holt reeled it in for a pickup of 28 yards, and Greenwood is knocking on the door again. Holt all day. Finally fires and throws behind and low. His intended receiver, Trayton Dawson.
That looked like that was designed to be a throwback. Holt was rolling to his right. Looked like he might have had his receiver in the end zone going back against the grain of the defense a couple times, but Holt unable to find him in the back of the end zone, but unfortunately lives to fight another day.
Second and 10. This time Holt finds an open receiver and connects. That's close to a first down and probably will be. And it's Dawson again for a gain of 9. They will mark him about a yard, maybe a half a yard short of the first down. And it's third and that left on the chain. And the no huddle. Greenwood right back up onto the line. Wilkinson in the backfield with Holt. Holt's going to run for it. Gets it easily. Gets inside the 5. He's going to score.
He's not big. He's not a burner. But somehow he stays on his feet there. And Peyton Holt showing why he's got 41 total touchdowns this season. Hard to get on the ground. And Greenwood's offense is rolling right now, Scott.
Well, you talked about the good sound tackling earlier in this game. But Holt broke several there on his way to the end zone.
The ball came out about the time he crossed the goal line. I think he was across, thankfully or fortunately for Greenwood, no review in high school.
Enos on for the extra point. He splits the uprights. And the Greenwood Bulldogs lead the Benton Panthers 17-7 with 6:12 left to go in the second quarter.
In the opening drive of the game, Benton goes 80 yards for a touchdown. They currently have 80 yards of offense. Since that point, Greenwood 252 total yards, 17 straight points. And this is a point, if you're Brad Harris, you got to call your guys together. You got to stop the bleeding at some point, and you got to do that with your big running back. I'd expect Zach Wallace here to get 2, 3, if they move the chains, 4 or 5 carries on this drive to keep their defense on the sideline, let them catch their breath, because this is a point in the game where it could get away from the Panthers if they don't at least flip the field position, if not get points.
Let's go down to the sidelines and see if Eric Sullivan is with us. Eric?
Yeah, Scott and Bobby just got off the Greenwood sideline. Coach Jones, offensive coordinator, even Peyton Holt, all giving a special high five to that Greenwood offensive line, because I think they kind of got exposed in that first quarter. They really took it upon themselves to say, we're better than this. We're going to start pushing Benton around. The results, 17 straight points. And I'll tell you what, Bobby, you just said it. Benton has to do something in this final 6.5 minutes, or it could be the ball game, because it's coming down to them getting on the board and getting fighting back in this ball game. That defense of Benton is gassed right now.
All right, thank you, Eric. Wells is going to return the kick. Gets over the 25, spins his way over the 30, and now he's out in front to midfield. And Gavin Wells gives Benton a spark.
However you can get it, whether it's on offense, here on special teams, Benton needed something to go their direction. Obviously a big return. The wind helped it. Kick not able to get in the end zone. He's able to take advantage, and here they are in a short field in Greenwood territory.
Let's see if the offense can pick it up from there. Eric mentioning the Greenwood offensive line. That was as key as anything on that last drive, because Peyton Holt had all day to survey. And when he's got that many receivers out there who are capable of getting open, it's going to happen. 44 yards on the return by Gavin Wells. Garrett Brown still the quarterback.
Back-to-back 3 and outs for this Benton offense. Needs some success on first down.
Brown will swing it to Wallace. Wallace met at the line of scrimmage. He'll fall forward for a yard or two. Trey Woods there with a good tackle. He gets 1.
It's a nice job by the Greenwood defense getting out there, getting gang tackling to the football. Wallace is a handful in the flats, but well done by Woods.
That was Colton Tuck,
excuse me,
making the stop for Greenwood. Benton's also got to run some clock time, I would think, on this possession as well. You don't want to give Greenwood much time to work with before halftime. Handoff to Wallace, and Wallace is met again. A big push by the Greenwood defensive line, a loss of a yard. Morgan Hanna again, he's having himself a big game. Greenwood player is down. Josh Mays slow to get up for the Bulldogs.
He's been big up to this point for the Greenwood defense, especially on the inside. All of the success that Benton has had running the football has been to the outside because of number 42 for Greenwood. We'll see how significant this injury is. This would be a big loss for that Greenwood front.
The stadium crowd has fallen silent as they look at Josh Mays. 5:10 on the second quarter clock. If Benton doesn't move the chains on this next play and decides to punt it back, that's a lot of time for the Greenwood offense that's rolling right now.
Yeah, they don't need this 5 minutes, but more like you mentioned it, Scott, they need to stay on the field because they're 2 3 and outs back-to-back and now facing a 3rd and 10 when your special teams unit gave you great field position. This would be a complete momentum killer if you're the Panther sideline.
They continue to look at Mays. He's a 6'2", 264 senior. Playing his last high school football game today. Let's see if we can go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric.
A lot of silent Greenwood fans here right now as they take a look at their big man as he's going to try to get up here right now. Great sign right there. And we've talked so much about Peyton Holt. He deserves a lot of the credit. Bobby, you've got to cover this team a lot, Greenwood. But how about guys like Morgan Hannon, Logan Workman, Austin Archer? They really fly to the football and are making things happen. And since that opening drive of Benton, that Greenwood defense, you got to give them a tip of the hat so far. They really changed what they really wanted to do in this ball game and are making plays right now, flying to the football.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah, you would have to think that a Greenwood defense that has a lot of pride in what they've put together this year, posting back-to-back shutouts, only 3 points allowed in the last 3 weeks, 14.6 per game on the year, but they gave up a season high to these Benton Panthers, so you know they wanted to do a lot better this time around in the state championship game. It's 3rd and 10. Wallace out of the backfield. Not much there.
What a great job by the defensive end. Austin Archer getting out there. He recognizes the screen. He sees the running back Wallace coming out of the backfield. He shuts down his rush. He's able to bounce to the outside and make the play as the flag's down.
Going to be against
illegal block in the back. Number 2, offense. That penalty's declined.
Against the Benton offense, and Greenwood's going to decline it and force the punt. That's third of the game.
That's just discipline in football. When you see a guy stop his rush and able to get to the flats like that, obviously he's been coached well, but read and recognition is so important in the game of football, especially with so many short passes. Because it looked like Benton's going to go for it.
Yep.
Credit to Archer there.
Yep, you see the importance of this play. This is a key play in the ball game. 4th down and 8 for the Panthers. Brown wants to throw. He wants the home run ball, and he won't get it. Intended for Gavin Wells. It'll be a turnover on downs. Surprised at all at the call there?
A little bit because of the field position, but not so much when you look at the whole scenario of this football game. Benton really needed something to go their way, and more importantly, they needed to keep their defense off of the field, but instead a 3rd straight, now call it a 4 and out if you want to call it that, but 3rd straight drive without picking up a first down, and now the Greenwood's offense on the field again with great field position and a ton of confidence.
And a ton of time. 4:41 left to play here in this first half. Now it's up to the Panther defense to keep their team in the game here. Holt swings it out incomplete, leading Luke Leonard too much there.
Kind of yanked that one on the tee box, pulled that one to the woods to the left.
I've been there.
I've been there way too many times.
One of very few mistakes by the Greenwood quarterback today, though. 5'9", 176 pounds. He's a senior. On 2nd and 10. He's going to keep it on the play fake. Looking over the top again, and it is incomplete, but there are flags again flying. Luke Leonard, the intended receiver, and I think Garrett Body may have grabbed him when the ball was in the air.
He had good coverage until Leonard made that shift to the post, and that's where that backhand got him. You see the replay, kind of the hand behind the receiver. It's always that offense. Nice job with the left, but the right hand got him caught.
Pass interference, defense, number 4. 15-yard penalty will result in a first down.
Kind of a mock applause from the Greenwood crowd.
A rare penalty that they've seen against the opposition today.
Keep it going, offense.
Well, it has been a struggle for those Benton defensive backs to stay on these Greenwood receivers. What was helping early in the game was the Benton defensive line wasn't giving Holt a lot of time to throw, but that has swung. The pendulum has swung at the line of scrimmage as well. Holt with a quick hitter out to Aaron Ole, and Ole gets inside the 40-yard line. He's going to be run out of bounds at about the 36. Cameron Ross makes the stop after a pickup of 6.
You always have to have unheralded players make big plays in state championship games, and today it appears it's Ole. Not on the leaderboard as far as receivers for Greenwood, but he's obviously had a huge impact on this game already, including the 71-yard touchdown catch.
2nd down and 4. Holt backpedaling, going up top again. What a catch by Lazaro Angel, and he's inside the 5-yard line, down close to the goal line.
What a play by Angel. Only 2 touchdowns on the season, 36 catches, coming into it. One of those touchdowns came a couple weeks ago in Searcy, but that is a heck of a catch, as good as you're going to see at the high school level.
A one-hander, 31 yards on the play. They'll mark him down at the 5-yard line. 1st and goal there. Hunter Wilkinson towards the right side. He gets into the end zone for the Bulldog touchdown. 5-yard touchdown run.
You can start to see it at the end of the first quarter, and it's really taken across these 8 minutes of the second quarter. Greenwood is dominating the line of scrimmage. They're dominating in the secondary, and now they're dominating on the scoreboard.
Enos is on for his 3rd point-after attempt. And he is true once again.
It's amazing how quickly momentum changes in this game, Scott. Benton is dominating up front. They go down to score the first touchdown on Greenwood's defense in almost a month of action. They go down, take a 7-0 lead. They get a stop, or at least hold Greenwood to a field goal. You think you've got to be pretty good about yourself, and all of a sudden 3 straight touchdowns, 3 straight drives of no first downs for your offense, and Benton's reeling right now.
When they got the ball back, Bobby, there was 4 minutes and 41 seconds on the clock. There is now 4 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah, 56 yards in 31 seconds is not a bad ratio.
So what does Benton do? What's the answer right now for the Panthers?
I think you've got to feed Wallace. Give it to him 2 or 3 times. That's how you got here. You look at his numbers. He's got more than 3,400 yards in his career, 90 touchdowns. He's the workhorse. He's the reason you're in a state championship game. So go to your workhorse, Wallace. Give him the football. Say, this is how we got here, and this is how we're going to lose if that's the case.
Got to keep your head up if you're Benton as we check in with Eric Sullivan.
Scott Inman, you stole the words right out of my mouth. Benton has a lot of heads down right now. 24 unanswered points by that Greenwood offense, and you got to go back to Coach Davis making the call to go for it on 4th and 8 right there. It backfired on him. So real quickly, guys, Josh Mays of Greenwood really struggling with a lower back injury. I watched him on the sidelines in a lot of pain. Very uncertain whether he'll be able to return for Greenwood or not. Back to you guys.
All right, Eric, a sky kick on the kickoff, but there's a flag down. Looks like maybe Greenwood had a player offsides.
Free kick.
If you look at Greenwood, you say, okay, what are we doing wrong here today? It's got to be the penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, they're killing themselves. I believe that's going to make 78 yards in this first half for Greenwood. That's not exactly how you see Rick Jones's football teams play. It's not showing up on the scoreboard, but Benton gets a little momentum. Maybe the penalties come back and hurt them.
Well, the Panthers should get pretty good field position out of this. after the penalty is walked off. Caffrey and Wells back deep to return again. They stand at just inside their own 15-yard line. It'll be Wells from the 16. Wells turns the corner. Nice move to gain some extra yardage. And he's out of bounds near the 40. Another flag comes in from the opposite side of the field after a 21-yard kickoff return by Gavin Wells.
It's a great block by Body getting out front. Allows the returner to get to the outside. But this flag, again, 30, 40 yards away from the action. And if this is going against Benton, this is one that Coach Harris is going to hate.
Illegal block in the back. Number 42 of the return team. Penalty.
That's exactly what it is.
Where that flag came from and where the football ended up, you're going to go back and watch that on film. And as a coach, it's like, what are we doing? That guy has zero chance of making a play, yet you just cost us great field position.
So it would have been near midfield, or at least outside of your own 40. Now it's back at the 28-yard line, and the Panthers making a switch going to Colin Murrow now at quarterback. Wallace is lined up in a slot. They'll throw the opposite way for a quick hit near the sidelines to Michael Allison. And Allison able to tiptoe down the sidelines for a really good gain. That's a pickup of 6.
That's kind of a trick out of Greenwood's playbook, the little drive start, a quick throw to the outside, a wide receiver screen, get yourself 4 or 5 yards, get ahead of the chains instead of behind them where they spent the last few drives.
Morrow, a 5'11", 158-pound senior quarterback, was the starter at the beginning of the year. He's going to keep it on the RPO, and nobody was going anywhere there, I don't think.
Yeah, he and Wallace ran into each other, a little indecisiveness there, and sometimes that happens. New into the game, hasn't got a good flow into it, and Greenwood's defense there to clean that up in a hurry.
Morgan Hanna, one of the first guys there. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 5 after that 1-yard loss.
It's now 18 tackles for a loss this season for Hanna. It's called living in the backfield.
Benton needs a first down. They haven't had one since the first quarter, and they'll have to wait. There may be movement prior to the snap.
Early on, it was Greenwood who couldn't get out of their own way, and now Benton literally and now figuratively with the collision in the backfield, and now moving back to the penalty.
Remains 3rd down.
Well, if you're going to have a chance against Greenwood, you're going to have a lot of offense.
Yeah.
And Benton started off on their opening drive, looked like they were there. But it has fallen apart since then.
It may be me, but it looks like they've gone away from their workhorse. They give the football to Wallace, whether it's in the flats, throw him the football, just hand it to him. You've got a guy that's got that kind of talent. I'd give him the football as much as possible.
It's 3rd and 10. And again, flags before the snap. Another one coming up against the Panthers.
9 carries for 30 yards in Wallace. 24 that came on the touchdown. So Greenwood, give them a little credit. They've shut him down for the most parts. But now at 3rd and 15, it really takes Wallace out of the equation, at least as far as the run game is concerned.
This is a Benton offense that averages better than 41 points per game. 3rd and 15. Murrow is going to be sacked. Hanna picks it up.
Sack number 13 for the big defensive ends. And when you look at football players on the field, it's like, okay, who's a guy that's got a body that can play on the next level? Morgan Hanna has got it all. 6'4", 230 pounds. And you see the speed there to get to the quarterback on the little game on the inside. And Greenwood takes a timeout. Not that they need a full 2.5 minutes to score, but they're going to have it.
That was an 8-yard loss on the sack by Hanna. So if you look at the way that transpired, the kickoff return brought back because of a block in the back. They would have had the ball at least at the 40-yard line, if not farther up. and they are going to kick the ball. They're going to punt the ball away from their 15-yard line.
Yeah, they even go a little farther after first down. They've got the ball on the 34. And so they just go straight backwards from that point. And that's the one thing you can't do. You can't give Greenwood extra bullets, pardon the expression, but I mean, Greenwood is, for the most part, better than most teams that they play. And today, Benton has helped them a little bit in the second half, or the second quarter, and now Greenwood is starting to impose their will on the defensive line, and they're going to get great field position with a chance to strike before the half.
We go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric, and that timeout by Greenwood looks like they're poised to strike again.
Yeah, they're going for it all right here, Scott and Bobby. They want to really take advantage of another touchdown here, potentially going up 31-7. And Bobby, I'm with you. Morgan Hanna is virtually unblockable today. Since they regrouped after that first drive by Benton, the Greenwood defense, they took it personal, led by Morgan, and he is just, you can't block the guy right now. And I tell you what, Benton is really struggling right now to figure out anything. So halftime can't get here fast enough for the Panthers. Meanwhile, Greenwood ready to strike again, guys.
All right, Eric, thank you. Barker ready to punt it away, and there's not going to happen before another flag.
I'm doing the
dead ball
here.
False start. 30 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains fourth down.
The intangibles of players. Just watch the little things, the nuances, the game inside the game. And if you watch Morgan Hanna, just the body lean, the way he lines up in his stance is not normal for a high school kid. You can tell he's going to play on Saturdays, and sometimes that gets in the head of an offensive lineman.
Barker's going to have to kick it away from his own end zone. Holt will have a chance to return from midfield. Can't get around his blocker, though, so it's a short return of about 4 yards after a 39-yard punt.
If you're a Greenwood fan, the scariest aspect of this football game has to be your quarterback, your all-everything weapon in the backfield, running back punts.
Yeah. I agree with that.
If I'm Greenwood, you take a shot. Got a chance to really put this game away. You're right before the half. Take a shot. You got man-to-man on the outside. Let's see if it's chuck one deep.
They have 2 timeouts after burning their first moments ago. They're going to keep it on the ground with Wilkinson. Wilkinson to the 40. First down inside the 35-yard line. Driven down by Devin Griffin, a 5'10 senior safety for Benton.
Then again, as Eric mentioned earlier, the established offensive line for Greenwood, why throw it deep? Just mash it, kill this last 2 minutes of this first half, get in the end zone. You got to feel pretty good about yourself if you're Greenwood.
That was a 13-yard run for Hunter Wilkinson. He stays in the game at tailback, and he'll get the call again. This time the Panthers' defensive front stops him after about a yard.
That's a clock mover. You're not going to break a big one there, but it gets the clock running, because even though you're kind of backed up as far as time-wise, 2 minutes left in the first half, you never want to leave too much time for the other team, even if your drive stalls out.
Big shift to no backs in the backfield here. They'll swing it out to Angel, and Benton pursues well there. It's a short gain on the play. Zach Parker, the first guy there, only a 4-yard pickup, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 5.
That's a nice job by Parker, shedding a block and getting the receiver on the ground and making it a 3rd and medium distance instead of a 3rd and short, what it looked like it was going to be.
Greenwood still in the driver's seat here as the clock nears a minute. They can still do a lot on this drive. Holt to throw. Complete. Wide open is Dawson. And Dawson's going to be right at the first down stick. Should have it, depending on the spot. It's a 7-yard gain, and they will move the chains at the 21-yard line. Terry Jones making the stop for Benton.
You're not going to complain about a first down, but Holt had his receiver 18, Isaiah Ballou, down the seam. Could have been an easy pitch and catch for a score.
Wilkinson again, with room again, inside the 15-yard line. Cameron Ross makes the stop for the Panthers, and now the Bulldogs will burn a timeout. with 40 seconds left on the clock.
This has been a clinic of how you operate the 3-minute drill on offense. Greenwood's burned the play clock down. They don't normally do that type of offense. They've run the football. They've kept it going. They've stayed in bounds on outside running plays. Really nicely done. It's a staple of this is something they've clearly practiced over and over again, because that's when situations like this come up and you know what to do.
Well, they're already in field goal range if they need to go the 3-point route. But they're thinking 6 here with still plenty of time for at least 3 or 4 more plays, depending on what happens, whether they can get out of bounds. And they have one more timeout, so I'd say maybe 4 or 5 plays at least.
And if you flash back to about 80 minutes ago, Greenwood deferred the opening coin toss. So that means they get the football to start the second half. It could be the 2-for-1 special for Rick Jones and company.
Let's see what Coach Jones dials up here for Holt. And it's a short pass again. Angel. Shy of the 10-yard line.
It's a nice job by Dylan Burnham. Fights through the block, able to get the receiver down. Going to force a 4th down. Really nice play on the edge by the Benton defender.
He was brought down in bounds, so they will burn their final timeout with 32 seconds left on the clock. And needing a couple of yards to keep the drive moving.
With the way they've played the last quarter and a half and the way that Peyton Holt and Hunter Wilkinson have had success on the ground, if I'm Rick Jones, you go for it. Because the worst thing that happens, you turn the football over down around the 10-yard line, make Benton go 90 yards in just 30 seconds. Essentially, you've got a chance to really put the game away if you can get in the end zone here. So I think that if you're Rick Jones, you roll the dice and you go for it.
This is a Benton defense that had a lot of success in the regular season, posted 3 shutouts during the regular season, allowed 23 points per game overall, but obviously struggled with this Greenwood offense, giving up a season-high 62 in their regular season meeting.
Earlier in the game, they ran the play where 2 guys motioned out of the backfield and had 4 receivers on one side. Wouldn't be a bit surprised to see something similar to that here.
3rd down and a short 2. There's that pre-snap shift. Holt out of an empty set. He's got a man wide open in the end zone, but he may have gone too late, and it's picked off by Devin Griffin. And the ball comes loose. They will say he was down. And Benton gets a big turnover, and Bobby there, Holt just waited too long to find his receiver.
Yeah. He was making his progression across the defense, and you're exactly right. He makes that throw just a second earlier. It's a wide open touchdown pass, but instead a huge play for the Benton defense and the Benton sideline. You're going to see the crowd get into it. Now you're going into the half. It's only a 3-score game instead of what could have been a real blowout. So it's a big momentum swing heading into intermission. Just the 2nd interception, by the way, this year thrown by Peyton Holt.
So now, if you're the Panthers, you have only 23 seconds left. Let's see what they decide to do here with Murrow at quarterback. They'll give it to Wallace, and Wallace will get the 1st down to the 25-yard line. They have 2 timeouts as well, and they are going to go hurry up here with 17 seconds.
And they'll benefit from the high school rule. The clock stops and does not start again until the chains are set. So essentially, you only lose about a second when the ball's set.
It has started again. They do not call timeout, and the lefty Murrow looks up top into coverage. Good coverage on the outside. Incomplete, intended for Garrett Body with 5 seconds left.
I like the play call. Take a shot down the field. Most everybody in the stadium thinks you're just going to give it to Wallace again. You never know what's going to happen. Worst case scenario, an incomplete pass, but maybe a pass interference call.
Trey Woods, good defense for the Greenwood Bulldogs on that play. He was stride for stride with the Benton receiver Body. So barring a penalty, this is likely the last play of the first half. But Benton can't take those timeouts with them, so they'll burn one here. Well, let's go back to that interception by Benton you said it, that really does keep them in the game, because if Benton scores there, particularly a touchdown, and it's 31-7, and they get the ball back in the third quarter, you could conceivably assume this game might already be over.
Yeah, that's just big for confidence factor for a defense, because there hadn't been many stops. And take a look at the replay. Just a nice job of reading the quarterback's eyes. But as far as momentum, you think about a Benton defense that hadn't had a stop in over almost a quarter, essentially. The entire second period, they did not get a stop. They get that confidence boost, whether it's in your end zone or at midfield, it doesn't matter. Get that shot in the arm, keep the score a 3-score game coming out. Now you've got some confidence. Maybe you get a stop to start the second half, and you never know what happens from there.
It's a good crowd. We mentioned it in the pregame show. Don't know what the final numbers will look like, but Greenwood, obviously the longer road trip, but they have traveled well. Benton, with about a 25-mile drive to the stadium, has filled it up on the east side. Murrow hit as he throws, and they'll do a little hook and ladder. See where it goes. It's Wells who ends up with it. He'll flip it. This is a little bit dangerous to do towards the end of a half instead of the end of a game, but the ball is finally blown dead after a few laterals.
Ben's lucky there. Yeah. That ball was on the ground. A couple Greenwood defenders on it. You practice it all the time. A little scoop and score. Maybe Greenwood gets in the end zone, but instead they fall on it. But Greenwood's not going to complain with a 17-point lead at the break.
And their fans are on their feet almost to a person, cheering on their Bulldogs as they head to the locker room, up 24-7 on the Benton Panthers. Let's go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric Sullivan. Eric.
Yeah, Scott, Bobby, we're waiting Coach Rick Jones. He is making his way down here in just a moment. We'll talk to him about an outstanding second quarter he and his Bulldogs had. We're waiting on him right now. Guys, give me just a hot minute right here. Coach Jones, what turned around in that second quarter? You guys are able to take a 24-7 lead.
Well, our defense they're playing really, really well, and the offense is making first downs. As long as we do that, continue to do that, we're going to be okay.
I know the penalties were not your favorite thing to talk about right now.
No, it was about 9-1 at one point in time. We got to make sure we take care of our business and do things the right way on the football field.
How big is it to get the ball to start the second half here?
I think if we take advantage of it, it's a big deal. If we don't take advantage of it, it isn't. We got to make sure we take advantage of it.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. That is head coach Rick Jones of the Greenwood Bulldogs. Scott and Bobby will catch up with the Benton guys when we come back, right before we come back from the halftime extravaganza here at the 6A state finals. Right now, of course, what a second quarter really for Greenwood. 24 points there as they lead at 24-7. Let's get it back up to you guys.
All right, Eric, thanks very much. I love that Coach knew the penalty flag count.
Yeah.
They always do, right?
We started to see the emotion, especially when they picked up what would have been either a hold or a block in the back on Benton. That's when the Greenwood coaching staff really started to get fired up. And now you look at the overall stats, it's 8-6, a lot more even than it was early in this football game.
You see the wind here at War Memorial. It's a windy day, but it is a warm day for December 1st, and the Greenwood offense has been warm, been hot, red hot. 24-7 they lead the Benton Panthers.
327 yards of offense, but really Rick Jones mentioned it there, the way their defense has played. Benton went 80 yards on the opening possession, just 18 yards since that point. Greenwood's defense has really taken over this football game.
We want to invite you to stay tuned for our halftime. We will be showing you a little bit of both high school marching bands, so stay with us. We're going to take a break right now, though. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
To your first child and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
Welcome back to War Memorial Stadium. Greenwood leading Benton in the 6A state championship game by a count of 24-7. Bobby Swafford along with Scott Inman as we talk it over here from the first half. We're going to go over some stats, but really let's talk about the way the momentum swung in this game, Bobby. You talked about it several times during the first half. Benton really had it right off of the get-go, off the opening kickoff. They were winning the line of scrimmage and pushing around the Greenwood defensive front, and were able to go on an 80-yard drive to start the game and go up 7-0. But after that, Greenwood, they actually still had the momentum after that because they got a stop and forced a field goal for Greenwood on their opening possession. They had a 7-3 lead, but then I really think the momentum was swung because of line play.
It really was, and we've talked about it a few times. The two defensive ends and Josh Mays, the defensive tackle for Greenwood, have taken over this football game. And Greenwood's defense is successful when they don't have to bring added pressure. And they've been able to get pressure, and more importantly, they've been able to establish the line of scrimmage on their terms. It's when they runs the football, because 24-yard touchdown run by Zach Wallace on that opening drive, but since that point, 9 carries, 18 yards. They have not been able to get their bell cow going. And if you're Benton, that's what you're doing at halftime. You're talking to your offensive line. You're talking to your guys up front, saying, guys, we've got to win this point of attack because we've got the best player who we think is on the field in Zach Wallace. Just have not been able to get him going. I'm a little surprised he's only got 10 carries at least in this first half.
Yeah, and he is a 1,400-yard rusher coming into this game. His average yards per carry, 8.6. Today it's 4.2, and we talked about the 80 yards that Benton had in that opening drive. They've had 18 since, 98 total yards.
At 168 carries this year for Wallace, 10 in the first half. And you've got to remember, those 168, he missed a couple games. And so he's used to 25, 30 touches. So maybe it's a second half guy. Maybe they're going to pound him with the football. The score dictates a lot of that. Of course, down 3 scores, they're going to have to go to the air at some point. But if you're that defensive staff, if you're Coach Gill, the defensive coordinator for Greenwood, the former Mansfield football head coach, you got to be slapping those guys on the head and saying, hey, just keep that up. 24 more minutes of that, and we're state champs again.
98 total yards for Benton, 327 yards for Greenwood. In the passing department, the Bulldogs have 238, the Panthers with 61, and Greenwood with 89 on the ground. Benton with just 37, and a lot of that's because there have been a lot of negative plays, a lot of tackles for loss by that defensive front for the Bulldogs. Other numbers, we talked about those penalties. 6 penalties for 44 yards against Benton, 8 penalties for 78 yards for Greenwood. Time of possession's been pretty even, but Greenwood has struck quickly. They're 7 of 10 on third downs. Benton only 1 of 6. Those are big numbers, too. The Panthers have gone for it twice on fourth down, connected once, and Greenwood is 1 out of 1 on fourth downs as well. They are 3 out of 4 in the red zone. The only time they didn't score was near the end of the half when Peyton Holt was intercepted, his only interception of the game. Individual numbers, Zach Wallace, 10 carries for 42 yards. That's 4.2 per carry. He does have a touchdown. Garrett Brown was 7 of 10 at quarterback. He started the game at quarterback for Benton. He had 47 yards passing. Colin Morrow came into the game, was 2 for 3 in the second quarter for 14 yards. 4 catches for Michael Allison for Benton for 32 yards. Zach Wallace did have 3 catches out of the backfield for 13 yards. Garrett Body with 1 and Gavin Wells with 1 catch. For the Greenwood Bulldogs, Peyton Holt with 12 carries. He's the leading rusher for the team, 46 yards at halftime. Hunter Wilkinson has 9 carries for 35 yards. Both Holt and Wilkinson have a rushing touchdown. Holt also has 1 through the air, 14 out of 20 for 212 yards. He has a touchdown pass and an interception. He has been sacked 3 times in the first half. Lazaro Angel with 4 catches for 63 yards. Trayton Dawson has 4 catches for 28 yards. Aaron Ohl has 3 catches for 85 yards and the touchdown catch of 71 yards in the first half. And Luke Leonard caught 2 balls for 33 yards. It's 24-7 Greenwood at the half. We'll be back with more from War Memorial after this. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
Community-focused bank like Centennial is that we encourage our employees to volunteer and give back. That's why our bankers are often seen around town involved in activities that have less to do with money matters and more to do with supporting others. From charity events and disaster relief to Chamber of Commerce and civic activities, we enjoy rolling up our sleeves and helping make our community a better place. See for yourself the difference our local commitment can make. More information available at mile100bank.com. Centennial Bank, member FDIC.
Broadcast of this championship game is made possible by
Law offices of Gary Green, a people's practice, representing people with serious injuries in areas of personal injury, nursing home negligence, and product liability. We are proud to be underwriters of AETN.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas to provide reliable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
It is a beautiful day at War Memorial Stadium in Arkansas's capital city. State championship weekend number 1 is underway with a doubleheader today on AETN. And we're halfway home in the 6A state championship game. Greenwood leading the Benton Panthers 24-7. The Benton Panthers high school band has already been on the field, and as you can see now, assembling the Greenwood marching band is about ready to perform. And when they begin the music, we're going to let you hear some of that, because we know that is an important part of the atmosphere and the pageantry of high school football. And these bands, I'll tell you, they work hard too.
They really do. It's amazing the amount of time, not only the band, the dance team, the cheerleaders. It's not just the football players on the field anymore. These guys are at school 6 a.m., they're at practice 5 p.m. They put it as almost as much work as the football players do, and it's nice that they can also perform on this big stage as well as the players.
Well, they are getting set. The flag line looks like the last ones to get in position here to begin their halftime performance. Got to be a big thrill for them as well to get to perform on the War Memorial Stadium turf.
No question. This is going to be the biggest crowd they perform in. You know, the nerves are got to be flowing through them just like it is everybody else. For Greenwood, probably a little easier. They've been playing the fight song quite often in the stands, so they're probably a little more loosened up than the Benton fans were.
If you're on the flag line on a day like today,
you're getting a workout.
Yeah, you are.
Those biceps and triceps are going to be pumping in about 10 minutes.
We noticed that when they brought the flags out for the national anthem today. They were whipping all over the place. And now the flag line's going to be performing on this very blustery day at War Memorial Stadium. They are ready to go, and we're going to let you hear a few minutes of the Greenwood High School Band. War Memorial Stadium was dedicated 70 years ago to our fallen war heroes. AETN's Chuck Dovis now takes a look back at some of the amazing sports and entertainment history that's taken place at this venerable venue.
Memorial Stadium was dedicated in 1948 as a tribute to all Arkansans who gave their lives during the 2 world wars and later included all wars. It's one of very few stadiums in the country to be dedicated to such an important cause.
War Memorial Stadium's first event on September 18, 1948 was, of course, a Razorback football game against Abilene Christian. It was before that game when the stadium was formally dedicated, and the rest, as they say, is history. From that day forward, this stadium became the secondary home for the Fayetteville-based Razorbacks. Many an Arkansas football coach legend would play many a game here, from Frank Broyles to Lou Holtz and on. Sure, Fayetteville may have its mega stadium, but War Memorial has always been the football lover's favorite, simply because it hasn't gone crazy with the stands reaching for the skies. Here, basically every seat is a good seat. Even if you're at the top of the stands, you won't get lightheaded or need binoculars to see the players. Beyond sports, War Memorial's event list is quite impressive. Various top-name artists in the entertainment field have performed here, from the Rolling Stones on down. Hey, it's only rock and roll. War Memorial Stadium also hosted not one but 2 Billy Graham Crusades in 1959 and 1989, drawing hundreds of thousands of people. And so, whether it's sports, entertainment, or other events, War Memorial Stadium has been home to history for 70 years. It's been Arkansas's most beloved venue and will continue to be so, while at the same time serving as a distinguished memorial to all those who have served this country and made the ultimate sacrifice.
Stadium, of course, continues to make history as the home of the football state finals, and you can watch Chuck Dovish on Exploring Arkansas every weeknight at 10 p.m. on AETN. We are at the half of the 6A state championship game. Greenwood leads Benton 24-7. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
So the last time you saw Mary Frances was 75 years ago.
It's wonderful to see you.
Beat up, but won't be broken. Lonesome, but always searching.
You've got to struggle out there to live, but all you have to do to die is just give up.
Long days, too many short nights. Wrong ways, almost felt right.
It was such a deep wound.
I would never want to see any history erased.
Keep on, keep it on.
These are your people.
No. Wow. In Quebec, really?
To the dreamers, wild believers, hanging on to hope by the way.
Change my life.
To the soulful, heart open, hopeful, keep on charging ahead. When you feel it, and you feel it, it's unforgettable. When you know it, and you hope it, it's unforgettable.
Back at War Memorial Stadium, a little more than 3 minutes away from the second half kickoff. Let's get a few more minutes in from the Greenwood High School Band.
Why choose local? Because local companies stay rooted in their communities. They support other local businesses and provide jobs for your friends and neighbors. At Fidelity Communications, we take great pride in being a local company that's dedicated to the communities we serve. Jobs and opportunities for the people you love. That's why you choose local. Fidelity Communications. We're here, we're local. Be connected with Fidelity, your local internet, TV, and home phone provider.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
I'm to be Sebastopol's wife. She knows something about Sebastopol. He has a secret.
We are living in an extraordinary era of science. This is the amazing human body.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station. Sign in and start streaming today.
Experience Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as they celebrated their 30th anniversary in their hometown of Gainesville, Florida. Watch Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live from Gainesville, the 30th anniversary concert. Tonight at 11.
Broadcast of this championship game is made possible by
Law Offices of Gary Green, a people's practice, representing people with serious injuries in areas of personal injury, nursing home negligence, and product liability. We are proud to be underwriters of AETN.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas to provide reliable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
The moment of discovery. You can't beat it.
There's a dream that waits like a tiger.
That was amazing.
An ember that grows to a fire. And we're climbing to the greatest heights. The world can't stop us now. They try to bring us down, but we just burn brighter.
Wow, how about that?
Literally nothing like this in the world.
About ready for the second half. Greenwood on top of Benton by a count of 24-7. We are awaiting Coach Brad Harris to emerge from the locker room, and Eric Sullivan is standing by down on the sidelines to talk with Coach ahead of the second half. Both teams in their warming up periods here. Looks like Eric's with Coach. Eric.
All right, Coach Harris, you got the lead in this ball game. Greenwood has firepower. You saw that big pick to go into the half. How big was that?
Well, it's big momentum-wise. That keeps us in the ball game. They score right there, we're in trouble. You know, we're behind with 17 right now. Big play by Devin Griffin. We got to come out, get a stop early, get our offense going. We've had a couple of series where we moved the football a little bit, but we've had some misfires on a few plays, missed a couple blocking assignments. We got to just correct a few things. It's all on us right now.
A lot of Panther pride. Your team is as gritty as they come. What was your message to them, even though they're down 24-7?
Hey, we knew they were going to be relentless the entire game, and we just got to match that intensity. We haven't done that the entire game. We've had our moments when we have a little lapse right there. You know, that's when they've hit us for the big play. You know, and we talked about that all week. Is the mental focus, mental preparation, and we're just not quite there today. So we talked to them about just locking in the second half and playing. It's not a physical thing for us right now. We got to focus up right here.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Yes, sir.
All right, Scott, Bobby, we're all set to go here. You heard it. The Panther pride is back. We'll see if it can be back on the field here in just a minute.
All right. Interesting, too. Thank you, Eric. Bobby, that he would mention that they haven't matched the intensity of Greenwood. They certainly did right off the opening kickoff, but those mental breakdowns and the lack of intensity led to big plays for the Greenwood Bulldogs.
Sometimes you get a little too amped up, and it came out and showed Benton was fired up to play this football game, offensively, defensively, but that fatigue starts to set in, and sometimes it wears on you if you're too high emotionally, and it's clear the experience of playing in 4 straight state championship games obviously benefited Greenwood in that first half.
Well, there is no question there is a lot of pressure on the Panther defense right away, as Greenwood will get the ball first to begin the third quarter, and they could turn a 17-point lead into a 24-point lead in a hurry. We mentioned that time of possession at halftime. They only edge Benton in time of possession by about a minute, but they are a quick strike offense.
Yeah, 71-yard touchdown will cut down on the time of possession a little bit. Brad Harris, the coach for Benton, mentioned how big that interception was, but he also said it doesn't mean anything if we don't come out and get a stop right here. This possession is going to be enormous, not only for Benton, but if you're on the Greenwood side, you're saying to yourself, we just cost ourselves 7 points on that last chance. Let's go back and get it back. So this drive here, the first couple plays of this possession for the Bulldogs, who are going to be going with the wind to their back, is going to be big.
Aaron Ole and Luke Leonard are back deep to return for Greenwood, and Garrett Eason will handle the kickoff duties for Benton. Only his second time to tee it up today. And the Greenwood fans rising to their feet again, and we're underway in the third quarter. They'll start with a little dribbler. I guess that was an attempt at an onside kick. It went a little deeper than maybe you would think an onside kick should go. Greenwood handles it easily, and they're going to get good field position. Peyton Carter, the up back there to haul it in after a 5-yard return.
You say that Greenwood was likely going to get good field position anyway because of the wind, but you take a look at the flags, they're kind of swirling a little bit. It's not completely straight from the south, but anyway, I don't think you want to give the Greenwood offense the ball at the 45 to start a second half.
Well, let's see what the Panther defense does to respond to the halftime talk from the coach. And there's flags everywhere before the snap there. There was a miscommunication there. The snap actually fires off and hits a player in the head.
Dead ball, snap infraction, 56 offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
We talked about it in the first half, that you're the offensive line and you move. There's no hiding. Well, if you're the guy with the ball and you don't snap the football, there's no hiding there either.
Greenwood not on the same page on the snap count, so they lose 5 yards. Penalties were their only really Achilles heel in the first half. Hey, Peyton Holt looked to throw. Now he's going to tuck it. And nowhere to go. Benton front right there. Among others, Caleb Kaufman there to wrap him up. It's a loss of 2. Or we'll get a gain of 2, actually, because of the penalty. So it'll be second down and about 13.
Rick Jones mentioned it right after the half. First half ended. Got to clean up the penalties. You never want to see a penalty before you even snap the football. None of it behind the chains.
Hasn't been a big problem. They've converted some behind the sticks. Let's see what they do here. That pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Kyvan Carroll got his paw on it, and it's going to bring up third and long.
This is a situation you want if you're Benton. Greenwood's kind of picked them apart with the short passing game. The defensive line hasn't got a lot of pressure outside of that first possession or 2. Got to get your hands up. You know you're not going to get home and get to holes in the backfield. Get your hands up and try to knock down some of these short passes.
Greenwood 7 of 10 on third down. This is third and about 13. Holt out of the pocket. Lofts it up, got a man, and the catch is made by Trayton Dawson down the sidelines. They'll convert again. Nope, they're going to say he was out of bounds.
Calling him out of bounds. Kind of like the touchdown. There should have been a touchdown that turned into an interception. Waited just a little bit too long and led his receiver out of bounds on the play.
Whew. I don't know about that one as we look at the replay. Take a look.
Kind of depends on when you want to say he's got possession.
Yes.
That's one if you play on Saturdays or Sundays, they're taking a few looks at it. I guess it is Saturday, technically.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I'm glad we don't have the replay booth, though. This game's going to go
long enough.
At a much better speed, a much better pace.
Either way, huge break for Benton. They get a stop, which they haven't gotten since the first quarter, and now they've got a chance to make this game interesting.
Kelby Caffrey back deep to return, and Jackson Stewart on. First time we've called his name today. Greenwood forced to punt. And he hits a wobbler that's going to be left alone and downed at about the 29-yard line.
How you draw it up? If you're Brad Harris, you get a stop. Get your offense back on the field.
30-yard punt. No return. And the Panthers will have a chance to dig into this lead.
You saw the intensity from the Benton defense there. We'll see what the Greenwood defense has to counter with, because they were really dominant in that second quarter. How much does the halftime break re-energize the Panther offense?
Coach Harris goes back to Garrett Brown as signal caller. Wallace in the backfield. He gets the carry. And he reverses field. And he's got a lot of room to run. The first down and more crosses midfield into Greenwood territory. Run out of bounds there by Aaron Ole.
That's how you take advantage of a defense that flies to the football. You reverse field. Wallace with his biggest run since his touchdown run in that first quarter.
24 yards on that carry. As you mentioned in the first half, going back to their bread and butter, what got him here, quite frankly, to the state championship was Zach Wallace's running ability, and they'll go right back and feed him again. And he's got a big hole again. Makes a man miss and has another first down.
You're exactly right, Scott. That's how they got here. More than 3,400 yards in his career, 90 touchdowns, including the one today. Expect him to get a lot of carries, but now they bring in their change of pace back.
17 yards on that carry for Wallace. Now DeAnthony Harper in the backfield, giving Wallace a breather. And they'll give him the ball. He gets by a would-be tackler in the backfield. He's inside the 20-yard line. 3 straight 10-yard plus runs by Benton running backs. Colton Tuck makes the stop for Greenwood after a 13-yard gain.
It's the first time we've seen Harper today. First carry pays off.
Harper's still in the ball game. Benton with a little tempo. Hands it to him again. And Harper a big hole. Inside the 5, down to the 3. Gunnar Perkins makes the stop. 14 yards on that run.
You got to finish the drive off. If you're Benton the offense, you got to reward those guys up front. Just hand the football to your running back and cap this off. And this is almost a picture-perfect start to the second half if they can finish it.
And it's Harper in the backfield again. First down and goal for the Panthers. Here's Harper. Touchdown. Benton. 3 yards.
It's touchdown number 11 for Harper. It's kind of a nice 1-2 punch with their main workhorse, Wallace, between the two of them. 32 touchdowns, but how big is that interception right before the half for Greenwood? Instead of this game being a 31-7 game, they get a stop there. They get a stop to start the second half, and all of a sudden we're a PAT away from this being a 10-point game.
They do it all on the ground. Not one pass on that touchdown drive. Garrett Easonon puts the point after try through. And we've got a game again. 10 minutes, 11 seconds on the third quarter clock. Greenwood's lead down to 10, 24-14. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
Experience Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers as they celebrated their 30th anniversary in their hometown of Gainesville, Florida. Watch Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live from Gainesville, the 30th anniversary concert. Tonight at
11. Broadcast of this championship game is made possible by
Law Offices of Gary Green, a people's practice, representing people with serious injuries in areas of personal injury, nursing home negligence, and product liability. We are proud to be underwriters of AETN.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas to provide reliable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
Well, Coach Harris talked about matching Greenwood's intensity when he talked to Eric Sullivan. As we check in with Eric, looks like they did it.
move away from the Benton student section just to hear you guys. The crowd very amped up, very fired up. Now that Benton has made it a ball game, let's see if that defense can produce another Benton 3 and out and get the ball back in their powerful duo Wallace and Harper's hands. We'll find out right here, guys.
All right, Eric, a kickoff meantime goes out of bounds, so that's going to produce another yellow flag. Well, Greenwood had great starting field position in the third quarter after the onside kick rolled through the first round of kickoff return guys, and they were able to sit on it about the 43. But Benton's defense did its job. They did what they had to do to stay in this game, and then the pounding running game gets Benton to within 10 points. So where do we go from here?
This is a very similar situation that Greenwood had to the first half. How do you answer? Now you've got a 10-point lead compared to being in a 7-point hole in that first half. Big drive for the Greenwood offense.
Hunter Wilkinson in motion out of the backfield. Holt's going to run behind him. And he's got a good gain inside or over the 40-yard line out to about the 42 or 43. Pickup of about 7. Brought down by Cameron Ross.
I'm not encouraging more yellow flags being thrown, but watch Hunter Wilkinson when he motions out of the backfield. He kind of has a tendency to be running towards the line of scrimmage when they snap the football. That may not be something this officiating crew wants to call, but it looks like they could.
Second and short now for the Bulldogs. And the handoff goes to Leonard. Leonard's got the first down and goes into plus territory. So Greenwood able to move the sticks. That's a 14-yard pickup. They'll mark him down at the 45. Wilkinson again, lead blocking for Holt. Holt turns the corner but runs out of real estate. Still gets a nice 5-yard pickup.
Clearly Wilkinson's listening to the broadcast because there he was perfectly parallel with the line of scrimmage. It's nice to see the players paying attention to us.
Yeah, you're right. That was much cleaner. Second down and 5 now. Greenwood's offense trying to respond after Benton came out of the locker room and cut this thing to 10. Holt's going to throw the football, but he's not going to have a chance to. No time to throw as Dylan Ferguson was in his face after the play action.
6'3", 210 pounds, unblocked, barreling down at Peyton Holt. He had no chance of escaping.
That's a loss of 7, puts him behind the sticks, and brings up a 3rd and 12.
Just didn't bite it at all on the play action. Pretty much a free shot on the quarterback. Peyton Holt frustrated with his production.
Holt fires behind his receiver, Dawson, but he does a nice job of coming back to get it, and that's going to be enough for the first down.
That's a big play. We've seen it a few times already in this game going this direction. Late in that first quarter, remember, was a 3rd and 22. Greenwood able to convert right at the sticks. You got to have a little more situational defense if you're Benton, though. You can't prevent those big pass plays in crucial situations.
That was a 14-yard pickup. And again, 3rd and whatever just doesn't seem to matter for this Bulldog offense. Handoff goes to Leonard again. Leonard with space behind a blocker to the 20, and that's going to be another Greenwood first down.
What can you say about not only the Greenwood receivers' playmaking ability? Leonard gets the handoff there, but his fellow receivers downfield picking up key blocks, picks up 12 yards, and all thanks to his fellow members of the wide receiving corps.
Leonard's 5'9", 164, but he can scoot through when he's got a lane to run in. As evidence there, and it's 1st and 10 in the red zone. Greenwood 3 for 4 on red zone chances today. Holt's going to keep it. Finds space inside the 15-yard line. Cameron Ross rolls him down there. It is a pickup of 5.
Kind of like we saw late in the first half, here early in the second half, the Greenwood offensive line kind of paving the way. We gave up the sack on this possession, but in the run game, they've been pretty effective.
Hand off to Wilkinson. Not much there for Hunter Wilkinson. About 2 yards on the pickup. Dylan Ferguson makes the stop for the Panthers. It'll be 3rd and short. Interesting play call decisions here for Greenwood. Holt can run it, and that's what he's going to do. And he's got the first down.
You got to give the quarterback credit. The vision on these outside runs. That play is obviously designed to go to the outside, but he sees the defense overflow, cuts back right behind his tackle, and gets the yardage needed to move the chains.
Zach Parker made the stop for the Panthers, but not before a gain of 3. And Greenwood, again, right up on the ball, keeping the tempo up. It's 1st and goal. Hunter Wilkinson gets the call, but Benton is right there to stack him up. First man to him, Cameron Ross, 1 yard. Under 7 minutes on the third quarter clock. You could definitely see the Benton front being a lot more solid like they were on that first possession. But Greenwood able to find some running lanes. 2nd and goal. That pass intended for Trayton Dawson, and he had some space. It was a little low on the throw from Holt.
You know, you got to give Mikhail Dukes, the big defensive nose guard for Benton, a lot of credit. Greenwood has had 0 success running between the tackles, 5'11", 285, and he's really just clogged up the middle, almost commanded 2 blockers at times, and forced Greenwood to bounce things to the outside, which Benton is trying to encourage that.
Big play here. It's 3rd down and goal. Holt looking left all the way, finds a wide open Dawson for the touchdown. Gives 8 yards.
Gives him a team-leading 7 touchdown catches. They just spread the football around, but the key there up front, Peyton Holt had time to go through his progressions, and you mentioned it, Scott, wide open in the end zone. It's a big answer score for Greenwood. Benton had all the momentum. That crowd started to get into it. Greenwood methodically goes down the field 65 yards in 12 plays and at least quiets the crowd for now.
And Enos puts up the point after to make the lead 17 once again for the Bulldogs. You're right. Benton came out firing, matching the intensity, and Greenwood with the big answer.
Yep. It's just experience. It's a heck of a thing. They've been in so many big football games and through their high school career, whether it's playoffs, obviously here at War Memorial Stadium, they know how to take a punch and they know when they need to land the punch, and Greenwood landed several on that drive. Big, big effort by the offensive line, big effort by Peyton Holt.
Well, you know that we had a big answer waiting. This Greenwood offense hard to stop all day as we go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric Sullivan.
Yeah, Scott and Bobby, keep in mind, how about Greenwood on 3rd downs in this ball game? Coach Rick Jones telling us right before we went to the locker room at halftime, they've got to convert, and they have done it so well in this second half. And guys, I had a really good view of that opening drive catch that was called out of bounds. I think Greenwood I think the foot was in, to be totally honest with you. But now they've taken a 31-14 lead. Benton simply fell down on that touchdown pass. It wasn't a blown assignment. The young man just slipped and fell, and you can't do that against this Greenwood offense. They'll tear you apart, as they've done a lot to a lot of people over the years.
Yeah, and Eric, you mentioned the 3rd down conversions. These aren't 3rd and shorts either. No. They've converted 3rd and longs big time.
10 of 14 right now for Greenwood is on 3rd down. You mentioned the 22. They picked up one in 3rd and 13 on that drive. Those are just momentum killers for our Benton defense, and Greenwood has clearly taken advantage.
Caffrey and Wells drop deep to return as the ball blows off the tee again. Well, I know we've got a few college coaches in attendance here at War Memorial Stadium, checking out a lot of skill players, maybe some linemen. Got to wonder if Mr. Enos has caught the attention of any of those coaches as well.
You got to believe that he's going to. The leg that he showed in the first half, obviously he has the state record for scoring as a kicker at the high school level in Arkansas, but if anything else, he's got the best looking shoes on the field.
Shoes are important. And this one will sail to the back of the end zone.
That's the prime example of you feel good, and you look good, and you look good, and you play good, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a second touchback. And he's booted. And Benton will start at the 20-yard line. Wind has died down quite a bit compared to where it was early in the game.
We've talked answers. Does Benton's offense have another answer? Because they know they're going to have to put up a big number in the second half to be able to pull this, if you want to call it an upset.
Did not throw the ball on their touchdown drive to begin the second half. They will here, but it's to their workhorse out of the backfield, and it is blown up. Gavin Wells trying to block Dawson James. James just blew it up for a loss of 5.
James took the blocker, essentially threw him into the receiver, and said, I'll just take you both out at the same time. What a play in the secondary.
Not a lot you can do about that if you're Wallace. They saw that play developing and did not hesitate to get downhill. 2nd and 15. They'll fake it to Wallace, send the throw behind the intended receiver Wells. You go back to it. The ground game was where Benton had established in that first drive, and now they're getting away from it again.
Yeah, back-to-back throws after a drive in which you didn't have to throw the football at all. You don't want to second-guess the play calling, but you've got Wallace, you've got a healthy offensive line. You think you got to give the big man the football.
They got it to him out of the backfield on the pass on that first play, but now it's 3rd and 15. They change the play, and Greenwood's defense shifts. That ball's errantly thrown. It's going to be picked off. Dawson James. And a big mistake by the Benton quarterback has given the Bulldogs the ball in the red zone again.
Whatever you say about that drive, it starts and finishes with Dawson. He made the big play, puts Benton behind the chains, and he's rewarded by good positioning, good fundamentals, makes the play, and now Greenwood again primed to potentially put the game away.
A 14-yard return after the pick as we take a look at it again.
Really kind of forced the ball into triple coverage there, overshoots his receiver, and so many great jerseys around the football, you knew one of them was going to come down with it.
5:40 on the third quarter clock. This could be the knockout punch. Benton's defense trying to hold firm. Leonard gets the pitch on the end around. Bryce Goler runs him out of bounds after a gain of 7.
You know, we've talked about Wilkinson, we've talked about Peyton Hull, but it's clear that Greenwood's tried to find different ways to get Luke Leonard the football. A little shovel pass there. They've given it to him out of the backfield a few times, and obviously a couple catches.
Another pre-snap shift, and the handoff goes to Wilkinson. Wilkinson inside the 10, and he's going to be close to and may have the first down. Let's see. It's a gain of 3. Looks like the mark gives him the first down. Caleb Kaufman. Well, maybe not. Caleb Kaufman made the stop. It is right on the stick. And now they will give him the first down. First down and goal. Holt's going to keep it. He likes that right side. To the goal line. Touchdown.
That's what you have to do as an offense. If you're Greenwood, the defense gives you a short field, and they quickly take advantage. And you mentioned it, Scott. We've seen Greenwood have a lot of success on that right side of the offensive line, and he gets right behind the big guys and gets it across the goal line. And all of a sudden, a game that we thought was a really close game just a few minutes ago is now ballooned back to a 23-point lead.
Grant Enos again on for the extra point. And he absolutely drills another one.
It's about 3/4 of the way up the bleachers. Feel sorry for the manager who has to traipse his way up there to get that one.
Well, Eric, we saw Benton have their best possessions right out of the locker room. But again, Greenwood just responding, and you can't give them an extra possession, and that's what Benton did on that last possession.
And I really thought, and Bobby, you hit on it, Benton went away with their bread and butter, Morgan and, of course, Wallace, and went to the air raid there, and that's just not what they do that well and are that comfortable with. So Greenwood, I tell you what, guys, they could smell it on that drive. They know they could get this thing up to a 24-point lead. They probably got it in the books, and they can go to their ground game and just really can feel getting another state championship. But, guys, a lot of time on the clock. Let's see what Benton can do. I thought they went air raid a little too fast right there.
Well, it's a great point, too. At some point, you're down so much, you're going to have to, right? But I don't think we were there at 31-14.
Right, and especially as quickly as they moved the football in that first drive.
Yes, that's right.
They went 75, 80 yards pretty quickly doing it on the ground. You lose the 5 yards. Their 7th play for a loss today, and that really benefits Greenwood because that's how they play. Greenwood has 112 tackles for a loss this season coming into this game. And you look at those types of numbers, Greenwood's used to playing ahead of the chains, and that's kind of playing to their advantage there.
About the only thing that's gone wrong is they can't keep the ball on the tee. Well, as we've mentioned, it's a doubleheader this Saturday on AETN Sports. The 7A championship game tonight. That ought to be a good one. Bryant and North Little Rock. All Central Arkansas matchup. Those teams squared off in the regular season with North Little Rock winning.
And that was a classic in the regular season. Wow. Bryant had a 21-0 lead in that contest, and North Little Rock came back and won it as Enos blasted one through the end zone.
Yeah, that one almost made the first row. Almost made the first row.
There's some talent in that leg.
There'll be a few colleges who need a kicker, I'm sure. Always, right?
Always. The second most popular player on a college roster is the backup kicker, right behind the backup quarterback.
That's right. Brown again at quarterback for the Panthers with Zach Wallace in the backfield. Wallace gets the call. Shuffles his way for a good gain up to the 24-yard line. Bringing up a 2nd down and 6.
Creeping up on 90 yards for Wallace.
Well, he's had 2 over 20.
Yep.
29-yarder for the touchdown in the first half. 24-yard run in the third quarter. They'll feed him again. I like the way he moves his feet. Gets down close to the 30.
Traditionally, teams who have success against Greenwood, and we're not talking this year, I'm talking 4, 5, 6 years in the past, are teams that run straight ahead. You can't run east and west against this team because they fly to the football too well. But El Dorado beat them at Greenwood in the second round of the playoffs a few seasons ago. Pine Bluff's gotten them in the championship game. Those are teams that run straight ahead, and we've seen the success that Benton has had running straight ahead.
Wallace leapfrogs over a would-be tackler, and he gets it out to the 45-yard line. On 3rd and about a yard, he gets 16, brought down by Austin Archer.
Puts him over 108 yards now for Wallace.
I think he actually leapfrogged his own tackler, or his own blockers, rather. Now Benton to throw. Wells, a wobbler, and it's going to be picked off again. Aaron O, who's had himself a big day on offense, gets a pick from the safety position.
That's another big play by the Greenwood defense. Hannah provided the pressure in the backfield, and that pass got up in the wind. You saw the wind kind of knock it down. It gave Ole time to get over and make the play.
Body the intended receiver, and that ball just severely underthrown, and looked like maybe it came out of his hand as a little wobbler too, maybe slipped a little.
Yeah, it all starts up front. We've talked about Hannah, we've talked about Archer. Those two guys are making an impact on this football game. They deserve as much credit for that interception as Ole does, who made the play.
Yeah, those turnovers hurting the Benton Panthers here in the third quarter when they're trying to make a comeback. Leonard and Wilkins in the backfield. This will be Leonard. Leonard fights his way for about 3 or 4. Correction, it's Wilkinson with the carry.
And the Benton fans aren't going to like to hear this, but this one's playing out exactly like the meeting in the regular season. Turnovers turned into touchdowns for Greenwood's defense and to their offense is really what allowed that game to get blown away, and this one is kind of following that same blueprint.
Second down and 6. Holt gets it out to Leonard. Flag thrown behind Leonard as he heads towards the sidelines. He's got first down yardage, but we'll see about the penalty.
It's been a pretty clean second half. I think the false start on the first play of the half was the only penalty up to this point, but moving back.
18 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
10th penalty of the game on Greenwood. 93 yards if that was a 10-yard penalty.
Five wide out set for Holt. Being chased out of the pocket, but finds a man along the way on the sidelines. It's Angel for a short gain of about 5.
You take a look at the game stats here today, Scott, and the season stats for Greenwood. Very similar. They spread the football around so well, whether it's Angel, whether it's Dawson, whether it's whether it's Wilkinson coming out of the backfield. These guys get about the same number of touches. They do a really nice job of not allowing defenses to key on one guy. Angel on the receiving end there.
5th catch of the game for Angel. It's 3rd down and a long 8. Holt finds a man sitting down in the zone. It's Angel again for his 6th catch, and he's got the first down for Greenwood.
It ties in with Dawson for the team lead today, and we saw it on the touchdown. That 6 to 8 yard hitch route is really what's giving this Benton defense trouble right now.
18 yards on that pickup. The Panthers keep the clock moving. Keeping some pretty good tempo right now. You'd expect them to run some clock here before too long. Mark Jones in the game runs out of the backfield on this first down play. Holt cocks twice and doesn't get rid of it. Now he's going to run for it. Makes a man miss, but he stumbles before he can reach the first down marker.
Well, it makes him so dangerous. He's just almost impossible to get down. You almost say that he can make a guy miss in a phone booth, and this is really shifty. Makes a couple guys miss there. Looks like it's going to be a 4 or 5 yard loss, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 5.
Caffrey with the stop after a 7-yard pickup. Holt was a little gimpy when he popped up, but I think he's okay. 2nd down and 5. And we're going to have a false start against the Bulldogs. Let's go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric Sullivan. Eric.
Greenwood loves their football. I've got James and Max here. Guys, hold up the turnover chain. That's a pretty popular thing to do nowadays in not only college football but high school football. Guys, got to try it on. Or did I earn it? Did I earn it? All right, so give me a turnover there. Give me an interception, Scott Inman. Good fans right there. Great job, guys.
That'd be a normal spot. I'd make fun of him for being a Cowboys fan and used to turning it over, but I can't really do that after their big win this week.
Thank you, Eric. 2nd down and 10 after the penalty. Play fake to Wilkinson. Holt's going up top. Incomplete. Intended for Dawson. Devin Griffin on the coverage for the Panthers.
Whether it's the wind or it's just the timing has been a little off for this Greenwood offense. He's had guys running open at times. Had a receiver there, had a couple steps on the defender, a little underthrown, a little too far to the inside, allowed the Benton defender to get back and break that play up. At that point, we're just kind of nitpicking this Greenwood offense, though. There's not a whole lot of things to point out they're doing wrong other than penalties and just the one mistake in the end zone.
They have been very good on 3rd down today, 11 out of 15. This is 3rd and 10. Holt flushed out, throws, and a diving attempt made and an interception. It'll be incomplete. Griffin made a great effort on the ball, but it'll be 4th down for Greenwood.
Kind of that no man's land, 4th and 10. You don't think you're going to go for it very often. Rick Jones not deciding real quickly, but he does send the punt team out.
You got to figure the Panthers could get just about as good a field position on the punt here as if Griffin did make that interception about the 20-yard line. Stewart on to kick it away, and Kelby Caffrey is back deep for Benton. At his own 10. He's going to let it roll out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
Special teams have been a big factor. Early on, it was Benton got the big kick return. They couldn't take advantage. We've talked about how good Enos has been, and that is a perfectly executed coffin corner on the punt.
That was a 42-yard kick.
Names. Terms.
And the clock at 1:43.
It's usually where the Cowboys hang out. It's in the coffin. God, I got all kinds of Cowboy jabs.
Oh, I didn't know you were in charge of scientific studies. That was pretty good. Morrow back on at quarterback now for Benton. And they're in a hole starting at their own 4-yard line. They'll give it to Wallace. Wallace again breaks a tackle. He is so good at that. Gets over the 15-yard line. That'll be enough yardage for the first down for the Benton Panthers.
I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Wallace here. Not only just feed your workhorse, got to flip field position, but you can't get it all back in one play. You're not going to score 24 points on this possession. So go out, try to march it down, get in the end zone, and try to make this a 17-point game going into the fourth quarter.
Murrow will fake it to Wallace, and the lefty swings it out to Wells, who is stopped at about the 20, and a flag comes down. 5-yard pickup.
Holding, offense, number 9, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down, first.
It's 18 combined penalties, and I know we're nowhere near the state championship game record for penalties in a game, but that's one stats that these two coaches and these two teams are not exactly thrilled that they're a part of.
You come to the stadium hoping you might see a state record fall. That's not one you dream of. As a coach or as a fan or a broadcaster, nobody wants to see that one go. 1st and 15 now, and boy, they'll stop play before the snap again. We might have had some movement.
I was about to say we're nowhere near the record for most penalty yards in a game.
False start, number 60, offense.
I guess we're going in the wrong direction with another penalty there. 315 yards, the record for combined penalty yards in a game.
And where are we now?
My math's not good, Scott. That'd be 153.
150. Oh, yeah, we got a long way to go.
That was
final minute now of that quarter.
2013, Charleston and Glen Rose with that prestigious record.
It's 1st and 21. Murrow to throw towards this. Well, that's one of the sticks, but that would have gotten him back to 2nd and 10, and it will. Catch made by Michael Allison. That's a 12-yard gain, so they got quite a bit of the penalty yardage back, almost all of it. And it's going to be 2nd down and about 9. That gives them some options here on the play calling. They will feed Wallace again. Wallace knocked down from behind before he can get going, but he still gets a pretty sizable gain of about 4 yards. I don't know if it's brought down by Jaden Martin. I don't know if it's the hair, but I'm drawing a comparison to Alex Collins a little bit here.
He runs a little upright like Collins did for Arkansas.
Yeah. They'll bring in DeAnthony Harper now in the backfield with Morrow. Connects with Wells, and Wells will stretch and get close to the first down yardage. Boy, an ankle tackle stops him right at the marker, but he'll have it, and they'll move the sticks. Gunnar Perkins made a good tackle. It's a pickup of 6 yards.
If Benton hurries up here and get to the line of scrimmage, they might get another play in before the third period gun sounds.
Harper still the running back. Shuffles his way for positive yardage on what will likely be the final play of the third quarter. It's a 5-yard pickup. He's tackled by Jaden Martin, and that is the end of the third quarter. Well, the Panthers on the move, but they've got a lot of work to do. Greenwood in the 6A state championship game with a big lead. We're back to War Memorial after this. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
The moment of discovery. You can't beat it.
There's a dream that waits like a tiger.
That was amazing.
An ember that grows to a fire. And we're climbing to the greatest heights. The world can't stop us now. They try to bring us down, but we just burn brighter.
Wow, how about that?
nothing like this in the world.
Set to begin the fourth quarter of play. The Benton Panthers with the football, but they trail Greenwood 38-14 in the 6A state championship game.
You touched on it at the top of the broadcast, Scott. Not many teams have held Benton's offense down this season. They're going into the fourth quarter with only 14 points. This is a situation and a scenario they haven't been very often, if at all, with the exception of maybe the shortened game against Bryant.
41.4 points per game, their average. During their previous 12 games, 10-2 record on the season. Zach Wallace back in the game on 2nd and 5, and Wallace will get the give. And he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Greenwood has to know what's coming. But if they totally sell out, that's a gain of 1. Travis Cox makes the stop. That could be a good time for play action here for Benton.
Greenwood's gone to a little bigger defensive line, brought in some beef with big number 90 in the middle. That's Bryce Womack, listed at 6 foot even, 349 pounds.
3rd down and 4. Benton is 3 of 9 on 3rd downs. Play fake. Morrow throws. It is incomplete. Intended for Michael Allison. No flags on the play. It was good timed contact there. That was really close, but I think it was a good defensive play.
Yes, Gunnar Perkins looks like he got there right about the time the ball arrived. You watch it in real speed. Looks like he might have got there just a tick too early. Check out the replay.
Benton's offense going to stay on the field. They're 1 of 2 on 4th down today. Got to go here, even though you're on your own end. You're down 38-14. 4th and 4. They fake it to Wallace. Morrow's going to keep it and have nowhere to go.
Morgan Hanna with a big play. Another stop in the backfield. And I believe, if my math is correct, that's stop number 120 on the season in the backfield for this Greenwood defense. And Morgan Hanna with a big-time play.
Morrow is slow to get up. He's still on the field on his back.
And he gets the turnover chain. Eric talked about it. Hanna walks off the field, get a 4th down stop, get some, I guess you call that some neck wear.
I think he may have hit his head as we take a look at the replay, because it doesn't look like he hurt anything in the lower body. Yeah, he banged his head on the turf. As we go down and check in with Eric Sullivan. Eric?
Somber scene here. The young man, they're really paying attention to the head and neck areas. I see it right here down on the field. Hopefully he can gather himself, especially with his legs and arms, but it's a really scary situation right now, and he is moving his feet a little bit. I see right now just being very precautious with the scene right here. And guys, back to the game here, in between the quarter there before the 4th started, Greenwood here on the sideline, very businesslike. Coach Rick Jones almost having to calm down the offensive coordinator, talking to quarterback Peyton Holt, but he got it worked out. I think they want to stay aggressive, but you'll see a lot of running right here, a lot of the play clock being burned off as they've got a really nice 38-14 lead. And yeah, Bobby, I've already had to give back the turnover chain, man.
Yeah.
Didn't last long.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's I believe the 3rd turnover, Scott, that the Greenwood defense has forced it at 2 interceptions. That one on downs, and that's a stat column you have to win if you want a chance to beat Greenwood.
Well, obviously everyone in the stadium concerned about the Benton quarterback right now, and that's good to see right there.
His head bounced off the turf here at War Memorial Stadium pretty hard as he's taken down by Hanna, but as Eric mentioned, able to move all the extremities, which is a great sign to see.
And certainly you go through a concussion protocol, I would imagine, at this point, as he banged his head off the turf, and then want to make sure he was okay before you got to that point from the standpoint of a head and neck injury. Morrow was the starter at the beginning of the season for Benton. Got injured, came back in week 10, so he gets a nice hand. He's the senior quarterback. Garrett Brown has split time at quarterback with him. He started today's game. Brown has come on strong as a sophomore. Morrow has good numbers, 13 touchdowns, 2 picks coming in.
Now this is another momentum swing. Greenwood's defense gets a stop. We'll see if the offense can take advantage. The last 2 times they got the interception, Greenwood quickly put the ball in the end zone. Now they get another short field. We'll see if the offense does the same.
Wilkinson, the running back. and they'll give it to him. Hunter Wilkinson with the stiff arm, but he will not be able to escape Cameron Ross. It's a gain of 4 as we go under 11 minutes.
Wilkinson's just kind of been the workhorse today. No big runs, just 4 or 5 yards at a time. But unfortunately for the state of Arkansas, he's only a sophomore, so they've got a couple years to deal with him in the future.
Holt with the quick throw. Connects with Angel again. He's been his #1 target here in the second half. And Lazaro Angel is tackled by Zach Parker. It's a pickup of 4. For Angel, that's 7 catches now. As he closes in on 100 yards receiving. He's got 91. Holt's going to keep it on the draw. And he will have the first down. It's a pickup of 4 yards, and once again, Greenwood enters the red zone.
And more importantly, what they've done on this drive is they're starting to chew a little clock. Greenwood's not a team to really bleed time off of the scoreboard, but, on this drive, they're certainly wanting to shorten this game as much as they possibly can.
Holt with the quick hitter again to Angel. And Angel works his way inside the 15-yard line, stays in bounds. That's what Greenwood wants to do. Parker with the tackle again. It's a pickup of 5 yards. Let's go down to the sidelines. Eric Sullivan standing by. Eric.
Okay, guys, I'm right here on the sideline with Colin Morrow. He is going through concussion protocol, as you strongly said earlier, Scott. Looks to be okay, but is definitely a little dazed right now, but it looks like he's going to be okay. But the right side of his face is just completely red. He's been taking a lot of hits today, and a little bit of a smile on his face right now, so good news right there.
That is good to hear. Thank you, Eric. Wilkinson with a 2-yard run. Ball marked down at about the 11-yard line. Parker again with another stop. It's going to bring up a 3rd and short. Greenwood is 12 of 17 on 3rd downs. Amazing they've even had 17 3rd downs in this game. That is a very high percentage.
And it's been a variety. It's been 3rd and 22, and this one 3rd and 5.
Mark Jones gets the give here. He turns the corner, heads towards the pylon. He'll have the first down. Pushed out of bounds by Ross at about the 3-yard line.
I hadn't seen much of Mark Jones today. That's his first touch. Senior running back's usually been in the rotation with Wilkinson, but we've seen more 4 receiver sets from Greenwood than we have multiple running backs, with the senior getting the action here late in the 4th quarter. This is where Peyton Holt's so dangerous, him keeping the football on a quarterback run.
77 yards rushing on the day for the Greenwood quarterback. Let's see if he calls his own number. We're going to get another flag first. Might be a motion penalty.
Dead ball, snap infraction, 65 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
I want to remind you to watch games after the broadcast at aetn.org/sports. If you happen to want to see any of this game again or any of our championship broadcasts. Holt will give it to Jones. And Jones is stopped shy of the 5. 1-yard gain brought down by Bryce Goller. As you see that clock just continuing to tick, it is becoming more and more academic that Greenwood is going to win their 8th state championship since 2004.
It's amazing what they've been able to do with Rick Jones as the head coach.
Holt will keep it himself, and he is turned back shy of the 5-yard line. Good tackle made by Dylan Ferguson after a 1-yard pickup.
And you look at the history of what Greenwood's been able to do, not only just to get to Here it is, 10 state championships with Rick Jones, 4 in a row. But what they do once they get to the state championship game, they've had some classics. You got to go back to the early part of this decade, what they did with Pulaski Academy, and just some shootouts, 56-55. But a lot of times they get here and scores end up like this. Their preparation for big moments and big games is, you hate to use the term second to none, but you can't argue that with what they have been able to accomplish with Rick Jones at the helm at Greenwood.
And Coach Jones is going to call a timeout ahead of this third down. They are 72% on third down today. An incredible number.
You're going to win a lot of football games playing that way.
You know, it's great what you brought up a moment ago, too. I think I expected a shootout. Just back and forth, up and down the field. This has not been a shootout. This has been a grind-out kind of game on both ends. Short passing game for Greenwood. Good runs, good quarterback runs. That's gotten it done today.
You know, you see the highlight from the first game, it was nothing but huge touchdowns, 50, 60, 70 yards. And with the exception of the 71-yard pass that Ole caught from Peyton Holt in the first half, there hasn't been a lot of those huge field-changing plays. Greenwood, like you said, has been methodical. They've dominated the line of scrimmage, and they'll take it 5-6 yards at a pop, and eventually that's going to move you down the field.
Let's go down quickly again to Eric Sullivan. Eric.
Yes, Scott, I wanted to give a shout out to Peyton Holt's dad, Keith Holt. Him and I were at Arkansas Tech together back in the day. Pretty nervous dad before this game started, as you can imagine, but the young man has played really, really well, as you guys have alluded to all game long. And guys, I'm not casting an MVP vote, but I would like to get your take. I think the Morgan Hanna kid has put his stamp on this game.
I think it's interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier when he made a stop. He is as good of a candidate as anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, offensive awards and players tend to go hand in hand, and Peyton Holt's
going to keep it himself, and he is going to make it into the end zone. The ball comes loose, but I think he was in the end zone and down. It will be a Greenwood touchdown.
I was about to say it before that ball was snapped. He's kind of made a statement for that to kind of win the state championship game MVP, and he might have sealed it with his third total touchdown of the day.
6-yard touchdown run on the keeper by Peyton Holt.
Okay, my math's not great. That's 5 total touchdowns for Holt, according to the stat blog here.
And if we take another look at it on the replay, he's definitely into the end zone and down. And Grant Enos puts the point after try up and through, and the exclamation point with still 7:06 left to play in the ball game here. Greenwood leads Benton now 45-14. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
PBS won 9 Emmy Awards, including more news and documentary Emmys than any other network. Congratulations to all our winners.
See what makes Arkansas schools great. Check out Spirit videos from schools around the state at aetn.org/sports. Welcome back to War Memorial Stadium. Caffrey and Wells will be back deep to return for Benton as Grant Enos puts it on the tee and watches it blow off the tee once again. That's been a troublesome spot today. Not much else has been for the Greenwood Bulldogs. Peyton Holt scoring on a touchdown run from the quarterback position. And you talk about Greenwood's experience in this state title game. Holt is no different. He had a lot of experience in the playoffs and big games a year ago, but not at the quarterback position. We're going to talk about that after this kickoff. This one will not make the end zone. In fact, I thought it was going to go out of bounds, and it will. So the flag comes out. Benton will have good field position, but Bobby, you watch this team play, and Holt has been he's been very good today. 67% completion percentage, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns throwing, and 84 yards rushing, 3 scores on the ground. He was a pretty good wide receiver, too. He hasn't done that yet today.
Yeah, hasn't actually did.
He did have the one catch.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. That's
so
right.
He's done it last year. 103 catches, more than 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns as Connor Nolan's favorite target. Anytime you have an athlete, you just try to get him the football, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's a receiver. You find ways for him to have an impact on the game, and obviously Peyton Holt's had a huge impact the last 2 seasons.
Garrett Brown with a completion to Gavin Wells, but it's a short gain. Stopped by Colton Tuck. It's only a 1-yard pickup. And the Panthers now forced to throw the football if they're going to put some more touchdowns on the board in a hurry. Zach Wallace is in the game at running back. They will give it to him. He bounces off a blocker, and he's going to get the first down, steps out of bounds at the 46-yard line. You know, it's great what you said earlier. They could still score in a hurry with the run game. It's all about the tempo. Aaron Ole runs him out of bounds after a 10-yard gain.
Wallace quietly has had a big day. Of course, he's got the touchdown, but 126 yards, I believe, before that carry right there. So he's creeping up on 140 yards. And when he's gotten things going early in downs, that's when Benton's been successful. But they tend to get away from him and not rely on him as much as at least I would like to see them do it.
6 foot tall, 200 pounds, a senior. They're going to swing it out to him on the pass game this time. And he's so good at making men miss. That should have been a tackle in the backfield. He gets positive yardage out of it before Morgan Hanna again brings him down after a 3-yard gain.
Eric brought him up in the conversation for most valuable player today, but how many times have we called his name? It's Morgan Hanna, whether it's in the backfield, they're chasing down a running back 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. Really impressive motor by the big defensive ends.
Showing some lateral speed right there, chasing him down.
The wind's really starting to pick up. It's blowing the ball.
Boy, you don't see that very often,
No, you don't.
See it blow off the tee, but not off the line of scrimmage. Handoff goes to Wallace again. Wallace carrying a tackler forward to the 46-yard line, getting Benton into plus territory. Eli Martin the stop for Greenwood after a 7-yard gain as the clock now ticks under 5:40. Hard to criticize the weather today, though, after what we dealt with last night.
Yeah, this is perfect weather for a state championship game. This is what you want in October. You don't expect to get it in December, but we'll take it.
Anthony Harper now, the running back in the backfield, and they'll give it to him. He's got the first down, big holes, and now he's going to break it outside. Inside the 20-yard line goes DeAnthony Harper. Eli Martin again with the stop for Greenwood. And the Panthers are in the red zone after a 28-yard run.
Again, we've talked about it, Scott. They've had success running straight ahead at this Greenwood defense. When they get in trouble is when they try the little swing passes and they get negative yardage and get behind the chains. It's the prime example. If you win first down, you're going to be a lot more successful, and Benton's been that to a T today.
And Harper's been a nice compliment to Wallace. He gets the give again. Heads towards the edge. Inside the 10, rolled down at about the 8. Right at 10 yards again for Harper.
I haven't seen much of him, just 6 carries on the afternoon. Which is a little surprising, 744 yards coming into the game, but the way the game has been flowed, the way that Greenwood's dictated the tempo of this game, they haven't had a lot of time to rotate backs.
Wallace is back in there now. 1st and goal. Brown hands it to Wallace, and he fumbles the football. And Greenwood's got it. Garrett Newman makes the recovery for the Bulldogs. You could point towards a lot of things today being the problems for Benton, but they've also turned the ball over too many times.
Yeah, that's their 4th turnover there, the first one on the ground. Red zone turnovers will kill you. It doesn't matter what the score is. No matter if you're up 31 or down 31. You can't turn the football over inside the 10.
Let's go down to the sidelines and check in with Eric Sullivan. Eric?
You can imagine the Greenwood fans right behind or in front of me here, and then, of course, they're on the sidelines. They can feel the state championship celebration coming, and I got another turnover there. And let's give Benton a little credit here, guys. What a season they have. Coach Harris did not let these guys give up, and you just saw the Wallace kid. He's playing his heart out. You hate to see him fumble right there, but I think it's safe to say is Greenwood's getting all the love as they deserve it from here on out, but Benton is on the right track as far as Panther football, and Coach Harris around there. Let's give them some credit for getting here and really competing in that first half, but, man, Greenwood, they're Greenwood. They wear you down, get you into their game, and boom, they have a 45-14 lead before you know it.
Speaking of that, kind of to add to that, what's going on in Saline County? You said you live down there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking big-time football. Bryant, Benton, Bauxite, correct me if I'm wrong, is in Saline County.
Yep.
Daryl Patton's come back and turned that into a relevant program.
Number 11.
They went 8-2 in the regular season and won a playoff game. I mean, football in Central Arkansas is – and, people are going to talk Northwest Arkansas versus Central Arkansas, but I think it's safe to say football in Central Arkansas has caught and maybe even passed the northwest corner of the state.
Well, it wasn't that long ago. It would be unheard of as Wilkinson takes it outside and goes to the first down sticks. Unheard of to talk about a championship weekend with only one Northwest Arkansas team in it.
Well, last year was the first time since 2005 a team outside of the 7A West had won the large school state championship. This year is the first time since 2004 that no team from the large school classification from the western part of the state is in the finals. Greenwood obviously here in the 6A title, but the shift has happened, and you talk to coaches all across the state. They said they saw it coming at the JV level, the junior high level, and it's obviously come to fruition here on championship weekend.
Wilkinson gets the call straight ahead over the 25-yard line. It's interesting. Tonight we're going to be doing a little scoreboard watching too.
Yeah.
All of those semifinal games starting tonight.
Right.
We do not know yet who will be here next weekend.
We've got a couple intriguing matchups in the 4A. You got Pulaski Robinson from here in Little Rock. It looks as talented as any team, but despite classification, they're in the 4A. Arkadelphia, the defending champs in 4A, they're still alive. They've got to go to Shiloh Christian. Those won 12 in a row. So really exciting football, not just here at War Memorial, but across the state tonight.
Mark Jones with the carry for Greenwood. He'll have the first down as the clock is under 4 minutes now. It's a 7-yard pickup for Jones. Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Bryant and North Little Rock, but since we've got a little bit, what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I think it's going to be a lot like it was the first time they met. Just a slugfest. Bryant, I've been told by multiple coaches across the state, has the best defense in Arkansas. And so to be able to play with North Little Rock, you have to have size up front. They average 270 on the defensive line. You've got to have athletic linebackers to watch play action. They've got that. If anybody can keep up with North Little Rock, it's teams with size up front and agile linebackers who can kind of read and react. And I think Bryant's got that. We saw it in the last, I think it was week 9 of the regular season. Had a 21-point lead, let it slip away. I think it's going to be, at least have a chance to be a really, really good high school football game tonight.
Under the lights tonight at War Memorial Stadium. It'll be a pleasant evening. Mild temperatures. Should be one of the biggest crowds in state championship
I don't
history.
know if it gets to the Salt Bowl. It may not even get to the record of 25,000 that saw Mitch Mustaine here in 2006, but I think it's going to be a big crowd here at War Memorial tonight.
Greenwood running the clock out. They're down to 2:47 now. Keeping it on the ground. And a pitch on the end around to Leonard. Leonard gets to the 40-yard line and turned away there, so we'll bring up a third down opportunity.
You see him get to the sideline and kind of throw on the brakes and did everything he could to stay in bounds.
Text AETN Sports to 313131 for updates. Good opportunity there to be informed if you're watching the broadcast with us or here at the stadium. Coming to one later tonight. We know a lot of people maybe are watching this game and planning on heading up to the stadium tonight. If that is the case, it might be prudent for us to tell you there are 20 metal detectors at all gates at the stadium. Another first down for the Bulldogs.
Now that they got the chains moving, this is when if you're Rick Jones, you've got to get your head on a swivel because that Gatorade's coming, whether you like it or not.
10-yard pickup on that run.
Just look
They're going to bring a quarterback out here. Holt is going to get a nice little send-off.
44 touchdowns he accounted for this season as a senior. He's going to play baseball at Louisiana Lafayette. Signed that scholarship a couple weeks ago, but you think that he might be fun to watch on Saturdays in the future.
Jace Presley will come in as Holt gets the congratulatory hugs. They're just going to take a knee now with less than 90 seconds to play. Holt may be the MVP of this state championship game. We'll give a significant runner-up nod to Morgan Hanna, the defensive end. Greenwood starts the celebration.
Just look for the group of people with the giant orange bucket on the sideline.
I don't see them yet.
The good ones you don't.
They're hiding it.
You got to hide it.
That's right. Yeah, just don't get too close, Eric. You got another game to do. Unless you brought a change of clothes.
That's what you live for. You take it every time. There it is. Working its way through the people.
Hasn't gotten him.
Just take it.
That is.
He just takes it. Jason Gill, the defensive coordinator, gets one as well, and he deserves it. If you want to call an MVP, you can call Peyton Holt. You can talk Morgan Hanna, but the job the defensive staff did for Greenwood getting ready for this football game, outstanding.
Bulldogs will not have to snap it again. Final 9 seconds, ticking off the clock, and the Greenwood fans will be at their feet again. The Bulldogs with their 8th state championship since 2004.
It is amazing what they have done in Greenwood. South Sebastian County is dominated. That town is crazy about Greenwood Bulldog football, and they get a great product to watch on a weekly basis. 8 state championships for Rick Jones, which is now tied for the all-time most in Arkansas high school football history. Frank McClellan, the longtime coach at Barton, has 8. And this weekend, coming up tomorrow, Scott, you'll get a chance to see another one as Kevin Kelly has a chance to get his 8th at Pulaski Academy.
That one will be a great game as well. The final numbers for Peyton Holt, 23 of 34 passing. That's a 68% completion percentage. 284 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. On the ground, he carried 23 times for 84 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. So he counts for 5 total touchdowns today. And he did have the 1 catch for 26 yards. Don't do much more than that.
You can't.
As you read that out, and you know it's a slam dunk for MVP.
He fielded punts. He really did it all for Greenwood. And you talk to Rick Jones, you talk to Chris Young, the offensive coordinator. They know that he's been the straw that stirs his drink all season long. They don't ask him to do a whole lot, but they don't really need to. His adaptability, his ad-lib skills at the quarterback position are really second to none at this level. And you just got to tip your cap to what was the better quarterback on the field, the better team on the field. And Greenwood gets beat in the season opener this year, but went wire to wire in Class 6A and really weren't tested along the way.
Well, we want to invite you to stay with us here because we are going to bring you the trophy presentation as it occurs. That might take a few minutes as both teams have to finish their congratulations of each other. Greenwood defeated Benton in the regular season and now beats them here to win the 6A state championship another time. I know Eric is milling around down there, and he's going to bring us probably a couple of interviews and talk to the coach.
Offensive and defensive lineman from Harrison Gotham in the mid-1990s. Olympic Greater, formerly chronicling Girlsports Life.
All right, Eric, thank you. We're getting the final numbers here. We told you about Peyton Holt's stats. We'll run through some of the other final numbers as we await the trophy presentation. And we probably will be able to hopefully get the PA announcement of that through the broadcast. That is what we are efforting to do. Nope, or to being told we won't be able to do that during this game. So we'll probably have to fill in the commentary here.
They've got a couple awards they give out to each. I believe each team gets the Brandon Burlsworth award for both the winning and losing team. We got this, of course, the state championship trophy and the most valuable player trophy coming up.
He is a 6'4", 305-pound senior
those trophies being handed out, or awards being handed out now to Joshua George, an offensive lineman, senior offensive lineman for Benton.
He drives all over the state of Arkansas, giving the kids an opportunity to see, of course, the Razorbacks there, but I keep the memory of his brother alive. He was just a once-in-a-lifetime kind of guy that your program gets.
Yeah, every home game, the Burles kids are there. There's a group of kids from some Arkansas community watching a Razorback football game for the first time. And it is indeed keeping Brandon Burlesworth's name alive. Noah Fox will be the recipient for Greenwood. Yeah, that is hard to believe. 20 years almost. 1999. That was my first year at KTV. Yeah. I'd been here about less than a month when Brandon Burlesworth was killed in a car wreck.
Yeah, you know, I was a sophomore in high school in Oklahoma, but that's one of those things when you hear about it, it just hits you to the core because they had such great talent and had a great future ahead of them.
Yeah. And think about this, guys. Scott, I heard you mention throughout the broadcast, you know, so-and-so's could be their final game ever playing football, but think about a guy like Brandon Burlesworth. He was a walk-on, guys. He's a walk-on. He never gave up on his dream, and I'm sure there'll be a number of Benton Panthers and a number of Greenwood Bulldogs that these guys want to keep playing in college. They'll have to do it the walk-on way, and all you got to do is read Brandon Burlesworth's story for that to be impactful for you.
Or watch the movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Pretty good movie about it.
Absolutely. And Roger Scott is not in that movie, by the way. Yeah, he's got his own career out in Hollywood. So.
Benton gets the runner-up trophy. Eric mentioned it earlier. I don't think you can say enough about what Brad Harris has done with that football program. State title game twice since 2014. You know, they were there toe for toe for a quarter and a half with Greenwood. Just didn't quite have the horses to keep up, but that's a program that's certainly on the rise, and they're going to be in the conversation for years to come.
And Scott and Bobby, I've already been told Zach Wallace will be playing football at Tennessee Martin next year. Had several offers around the state of Arkansas, but he wants to go play out there, so congratulations to that guy's going to be. I think we'll be hearing his name a lot if you watch any of the smaller level of D1 football.
That's a big score for Tennessee Martin, if you ask me. Wallace finishes with 22 carries today, 145 yards. Those numbers were not that gaudy at halftime, but they started to feed him in the second half. He had one touchdown, 6.6 yards per carry for Zach Wallace. He is, I believe, going to have a really good college career.
3,500 yards and 90 touchdowns in his career.
And Bobby, you said Peyton Holt is at Louisiana Lafayette for baseball, correct?
Correct.
I've got 100. The football coach will be calling him.
Yeah, you might believe it, is Greenwood holding up the trophy for the 8th time under Rick Jones.
And his 8th state championship since 2004, 9th overall in school history.
You hear it over the PA there. 9 state championships, all since the year 2000. What they've been able to do at Greenwood, obviously Rick Jones has a lot to do with that. But they have been the class of 6A, used to be class 5A. Pretty impressive run by the Greenwood Bulldogs, capped with another championship trophy.
All right. We are hearing the PA in our ear. I'm not sure if that's going out on the air. There we go. I didn't think it was, so we didn't pull that down. We're going to take a break and be back with a final wrap-up of the 6A state championship coverage. You're watching the 2018 Centennial Bank High School State Finals on AETN Sports.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
I'm to be Sebastopol's wife. She knows something about Sebastopol. He has a secret.
We are living in an extraordinary era of science. This is the amazing human body.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station. Sign in and start streaming today.
Broadcast of this championship game is made possible by
Law Offices of Gary Green, a people's practice, representing people with serious injuries in areas of personal injury, nursing home negligence, and product liability. We are proud to be underwriters of AETN.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas to provide reliable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
Greenwood beats Benton for the 6A state title, 45-14, as you see there on your screen. And all the post-game honors have been handed out, so now it's time for the post-game interviews. We go down to the sidelines and talk with Eric Sullivan. Eric?
All right, Scott, Coach Rick Jones wanted to meet with his team for just one more second. Obviously, awfully proud of this senior class, and as soon as he gets done, we will get to talk to him. And, of course, the MVP, Peyton Holt. Outstanding game by him. I was pulling for my guy, Morgan Hanna, but at the end of the day, the quarterbacks always get the awards, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's hard when you read those numbers out loud.
Yeah, when you say 5 touchdowns in a state championship game, that's going to lean the needle.
Who am I to be defending defensive players? I never played a lick of defense in my life. You know, I've always wanted to shoot threes. So there you go right there. We're giving you just a second, guys, and we'll get to talk to a couple of very happy Greenwood Bulldogs and another state championship, of course.
518 total yards for Greenwood today, 310 through the air and 208 on the ground.
Balance. Rick Jones, Chris Young, that's what they balanced their offense on, is being equally as effective through the air and on the ground. And I think the big number is you see Benton finishes with 209 rushing. A lot of that came in the fourth quarter. A lot of that came when the game was already decided on the drive that ended in a fumble inside the 10. Greenwood had 1 yard less rushing than Benton did. If you would have told me that coming into the game, I would have predicted that Greenwood would win it pretty easily.
And officially, by the way, Morgan Hanna ends up with 7 total tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss.
That's a big day.
Run his numbers as well. And Travis Cox was actually the leading tackler with 9 for Greenwood. All right, I think Eric's with Coach. Let's go down to talk to Eric.
All right, guys. I'm with MVP Peyton Holt. Peyton, you've done this before. How special is this one?
Oh, it means a lot. Everyone doubted us at the beginning of the year, and we worked our butts off throughout the whole year. And Benton obviously wanted it, and they got us, and so we worked our butts off to the final score. And so I'm really excited that
Ben kind of set the stage early and I don't think knocked you guys around, but really made some noise there. What did y'all adjust to, Peyton?
We just watched the film on the sideline, and then we kind of fixed our formations, and we did our job. We executed.
It's always a tough question. You've done this, and Greenwood's done this so many times. Do you even rank these, or are they just all so special to you?
They're all of them. I mean, they're all special. You can't really describe the feeling whenever that clock runs out and you're winning, and so it's just indescribable.
All right, the $1 million question. I know your dad. We both were at Tech together. Can you strike him out, or can you hit it farther than he can?
I can definitely hit it farther than he can and strike him out. So I mean, it's kind of no-brainer.
Son, congratulations. Go enjoy this.
Thank you.
All right, Scott, there's your MVP. We'll get Coach Jones on in just a moment. We'll get him over here, so let's get it back up to you guys.
Success and Peyton Holt kind of run hand in hand. MVP of the state championship game here, they win a title. They won a championship in 6A baseball last spring at Baum Stadium, won the state title last year in football. And you got to believe with the talent they've got coming back and a kid in Peyton Holt who hit better than 500 last season.
Wow.
They're got to be the favorite in 6A to win another baseball title.
And how hard is it now to be a 2-sport star? It's not as easy as it used to be.
You never see it. I mean, it's very, very rare that kids are even allowed the opportunity to play multiple sports, because you've got coaches or you've got personal trainers who are pulling you one direction or another. To see what Peyton Holt's been able to do, to not be good, but be elite at the high school level at multiple sports. And obviously a lot of attention has gone to Connor Nolan in the past at Greenwood, obviously going to play 2 sports at Arkansas, but Peyton Holt deserves to be in that same conversation for what he's been able to do, because stats are one thing, results are another, and Peyton Holt has shown he's just a winner.
Did both today, that's for sure. Got the state championship and put up the numbers to do it. As we continue to wait on Coach Jones to finish his other post-game responsibilities. I know a lot of people are on the field between home radio, and I know the Buzz is also broadcasting the state championship games as well. So there are a lot of people wanting to talk to the winning head coach.
Looks like Eric may be ready.
Eric, are you ready to go?
Coach Rick Jones is with us. State championship doesn't get old. This is what you got into this before a long time ago. I'm just impressed how you handle the Gatorade baths now.
Well, I was ready for it. Today I was ready for it. You know, after about 2 minutes, I finally felt like we had a chance to pull this one out. And, I was so proud of our kids. They played so hard and played so well. Our coaches do such a great job of giving them a plan. I mean, offense, defense, kicking game, our 3 coordinators were fantastic. And I'm just proud of them.
Seems like your defense picked you up when you had to, and then your offense really got it going when it had to. That's what teamwork's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And our kicking game was solid. They made some plays on us. That's an explosive team, and you have to be concerned with it every time you kick to them, or the way that they can just explode on you really, really fast. And our kids, we got Logan hurt early in the game, and we had to put some guys in that haven't been in a while, and they did a great job. They were very, very prepared to play the game, and that's what I'm most proud of.
Coach Jones, Tyler Wilson, Connor Noe, and I'm missing a bunch of them. Here you've got and we know you're the quarterback guy. You had a wide receiver win you a state championships year. Talk about that, though. That kid really turned out to be what he was, and I'll tell you what, he leads this team.
There's no doubt about it. We told him we were going to ride him like a rented mule today because there's no tomorrow. Honestly, we just try to not run him into the ground before we got to this day. And once we got to this day, it was like the gloves were off, brother. I told him when he came in on Monday, I said, you better be ready because we're about to get after you.
Coach, be in good shape. Congratulations. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
All right, there. Everybody's huddled around us. There's Scott, but good to get that in there. I think they did just that with Peyton Holt, and he certainly came through for him. 5 touchdowns total, and it sounded like a really classy young man when we talked to him just a minute ago. Congrats to everybody on this team.
All right, Eric, thank you. We're getting another look at that Gatorade bath there at the end, splashing around in a celebratory environment on the field. Greenwood continues to celebrate their 6A state championship. It's no accident that they have good quarterbacks.
Not at all. And you heard Eric mention a couple of the 6 Division I quarterbacks that Rick Jones has produced since 2005. Peyton Holt's not one of those. Baseball didn't really go under his tutelage, but what he does. I had a chance to sit down with him earlier this week talking about this game, and I said, what makes Peyton Holt special? How did you know that he could be a receiver and a quarterback? And he goes, I can't teach a player to spin the football, which means put touch on it, throw it the spiral, but he says, I can teach him to be a quarterback. He goes, what we do is we start him in the 5th grade, find out who can spin a football. And he goes, at that point, I'll turn you into a quarterback. So Peyton Holt was a receiver on the roster the last 2 seasons, but he was still going through all the quarterback drills. He was still going through quarterback reads and routines in pregame, knowing that his time was eventually going to come. And obviously he took advantage of that one season he had.
Bulldogs win it 45-14 over the Panthers from Benton High School, and we're halfway through our state championship doubleheader here today at War Memorial Stadium. Still to come, the nightcap. Under the lights we are. A 6:30 kickoff between the Bryant Hornets and the North Little Rock Charging Wildcats in the 7A state championship. And Bobby and I will be back for that, as will Eric. We're looking forward to joining you again at 6 o'clock this evening for that broadcast. As we get ready to part for now, though, we want to give you another look in case you missed it. There was a halftime piece that we aired about War Memorial Stadium. You know, it was dedicated 70 years ago, hard to believe, to our fallen war heroes. AETN's Chuck Dovish now takes a look back at some of the amazing sports and entertainment history that's taken place here. And on the back end of that, we will join Exploring Arkansas, already in progress. That's it for now from War Memorial Stadium. The Bulldogs over the Panthers, 45-14. We'll talk to you tonight.
A tribute to all Arkansans who gave their lives during the 2 World